Most folks in Eberron live their lives hoping to survive and protect the ones they care about the most. A few do that and more, trying to help those around them, even the ones they don't know. But only one group does all that when no one else can. The King's Citadel. The ones who do the job no one else can do. Valerian, the Shield. A star-forged Aegis whose strength lies in their shield, their armor, and their will to keep the Citadel and its mission safe, no matter what the cost. Merime, the Sword. A Kalashtar bard whose dreams predict doom and disaster, so that her skill in battle, insight into the hearts and minds of those she encounters, and love for her sister and the Citadel is more necessary than ever. Tantin, the Brain. A dragon-marked human artificer whose jovial demeanor conceals a deep curiosity, razor-sharp intellect, and long memory. He knows what he did for the last war, and he knows what it did to him, and how much worse the next war could be. Nisiana, the Heart. A dragon-marked halfling healer whose love for her sister is matched only by her desire to help and heal the members of the Citadel. She's grown wiser and more wary, yet even in the midst of doubt, hope remains. Rowan, the Wild Card. A human wild magic sorcerer who's played a dangerous game for most of his life. He's gone all in to save his friends, but they aren't the only ones sitting at the table. As the shadows gather, will he have the chips to pay if his bet is called? These 5 elite operatives came together to aid the salvage outpost of Salvation, where the Grey hovers nearby, a threat and a promise. With the Oracle of War, they found an artifact powerful enough to end a war, or begin one. They traveled to Sharn, City of Towers, to unravel the Oracle's mysteries while stopping assassination attempts from the terrorist organization known as the Emerald Claw. They found Sky Blue, the daring thief tied to the ancient draconic prophecy, and stopped the Claw operative Arulan Karnak before traveling back to Salvation and into the Grey to repel a war-forged invasion and take the fight to the Lord of Blade's secret fortress Razorcrag. Capturing one of the Claw's most powerful lieutenants and sent to negotiate peace with the nation of Thrain, they survived another assassination attempt and saved the Thrain's leader from the continent-wide vengeance of the Undying Court, only to discover they'd been betrayed by an ally who was not as she seemed. Now the King's Citadel must stop the Emerald Claw once and for all, using their new knowledge and new allies to finish the Claw and gain the information they need about the Oracle of War before it's too late. But can they learn the Oracle's secrets, stop the Emerald Claw, and discover the deepest plans of the Lord of Blades? Only if they remember that in the end all they have is each other and the King's Citadel. Long live the King. Welcome to Eberron. Welcome to Corvair. Welcome to the world within and without Salvation.
Lovely stuff as always. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Arvanauts, to a Saturday stream. It is January 4th, 2025, in the year of our Lord, etc., etc., and it is great to see everybody for day 67 of D&D with I&B. It's Dungeons & Dragons with Infinity and Beyond, Eberron, Oracle of War. This is part 4 of From Dust as we begin 2025. In this campaign, with what I think is going to be a really fascinating one today, and that has to do with some mystery, some exploration. Will there be any combat? We'll find out. But before we get there, just a couple of reminders about ways to support the channel. If you have not done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube at !ArvTube. And if you're watching me over on YouTube, welcome and thank you. And please spread the word. Remember, every new subscription over on YouTube is a new record for us. We're trying to get to 1,100 subscribers, so please do hit that subscribe button. We're only about 13 or 14 away at this point, so please do subscribe. It's free for you to do that, but it really helps us out, and we would appreciate it very much if you would subscribe. Thank you, thank you. On the Discord front, !ArvCord is where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. I am so happy that the Discord bot is now working as it should, so we have notifications. We had an automatic notification go out today. We had an automatic notification go out last night for the community D&D with the Shadow Cruise thing. So it's all working. Yay, it's one less thing that I have to worry about when we get a stream started. So that's awesome. So please join us over on Discord where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter, social media, Twitter, !Arv tweets, Blue Sky, !Arv Sky. Definitely pushing people more towards Blue Sky than Twitter at this point. I am going to be probably leaving Twitter in short order, but I want to make sure that I need some more followers on Blue Sky first. So we're getting there. 700 so far, which is a great number, and I'm trying to push further so that I can do that social media thing. So please do support us. Hi, Imaginary Exponent. And I saw Emily was here. Hello to Triffid. Hello to Crit Twitch. Hello to all the folks who have joined us today. But yes, so definitely follow us on both those things. And of course, the website, arvanelloron.com. We've got a new Hearthglow long-form recording happening soon, which means that we will have a number of short-form audio episodes coming out of that the amazing Triffid will be handling. That will be coming shortly. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And you can find that and details about the Gen GM's show you should follow as well on our YouTube channel, the DMGM show that I do with one Mr. Zach Clay. We already did a long recording of that, and we've got new shorts coming out from that very soon. On the, let's see, yes, financially, on the Patreon front, !Arvtreon, would love to see that number get into triple digits again. You can get cool and unique stuff for yourself and also cool stuff for the channel, so please do consider supporting us over there. Also, we would love it if you would subscribe to the channel, and you can get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. That would be lovely. And if you're looking for merchandise, may I suggest checking out our !Arv shop for all the merchandise, including the best bad idea we've ever had shirts, which you can find for this very campaign over on the merchandise shop area, !Arv shop. On the publishing front, !Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts, !Library, that's my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and !Greyshade, that's my Greyshade IP, Greyshade Renegade Heretic, the 3 books of the Grey Assassin trilogy available at that link, as is the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks, about whom more in a moment. You can get those at that link. You can also pre-order the tabletop role-playing of Greyshade, which is coming out from Alligator Alley Entertainment and which will be out later this year. Looks like about mid-year. So definitely pre-order that. It's only a few months away, folks, and the more pre-orders we get, the better. It's really going to help us out when it hits the ground running. We are determined to make this hopefully a really good launch for what's going to be an amazing game. So please do consider pre-ordering that if you like that whole tabletop thing. I mean, who plays tabletop games these days, right? No, just kidding. Obviously, lots of people do. That's why we're doing this. So please do pre-order there if you can. And finally, last but not least, !BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. !Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And !Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, as they have been doing for years now. And we send the message that we will do so for others in the future as well. Now, we have Eberron going on tonight. This is going to be the first of 4 weekend tabletop streams. Saturday, we've got this. Next Saturday, we have Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks. Saturday after that, we have the next Eberron Oracle of War. And then the weekend after that, we've got another Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks. So we got a lot of that tabletop going on. On Tuesday, we will have Beowulf, Age of Heroes, as we're moving into the end stages of that particular adventure. Not that campaign, but just that particular adventure with Tari Tunes. And then we will be over on Pen and Pixels, GOG.com's Twitch channel with Pen and Pixels, maybe finishing Songs of Conquest, or at the very least, getting us into, I think we're 1 to 2 sessions away from the end of Songs of Conquest. So that's cool. We were almost going to be done with that. And then next Thursday, we will be wrapping up Beyond Shadowgate. So a lot of really awesome stuff coming up on the channel. Very excited for that and things to come. But for now, I'm going to unmute myself and apologize to anyone that I interrupted because I can't hear them. and then I will unmute them. And last but certainly not least, head over to reveal to you the crew of Infinity and Beyond. We all made it to 2025, so I will wish them all a happy new year. And start with the gentleman at the bottom left of the 2025 ziggurat, and that's what we need. We need more more year-based ziggurats. I think we all need that in our lives. So at the bottom left of that ziggurat is one Tren Sparks. Good to see you, Tren. Happy New Year. How's 2025 turning out for you in the first 4 days? And who are you playing tonight?
See, my housemate and I were talking about bingo cards that we saw. Like one of our furry buddies was like, everybody needs to make their own bingo card. And like, here's my bingo card.
My daughter had this idea. She I filled out one too.
See, and so I'm like, what would my? And they're like, here's my 2025 bingo card, and my brain immediately locked onto the bottom right square being 2025. The one to the left of that being 2024, 2020, and just all the way back through. And I'm like, I can just X them all off. I've done them all, and I was like, wait, that's not how this works. It's like, that's, what would I put in the center thing though? Like,
that's the free space. You don't have to worry about that. That's always the free space.
I feel like I should put something there anyway. But anyway, yeah. So it's 4 days. I don't know how this year's going yet. It's okay. I guess it's fine. Hi, I'm Tren. I'm a professional voice actor who lives out here in somewhat gloomy California. And I am playing... No, that's not his name.
Mia Tanton.
Thank you. That guy. See?
Let's see what an incredible impression this character has made on it.
Yeah, I tell you.
On his creator.
It's all right. I was going to say he's been playing it for 14 levels only, so it's not like
it's not a big. It's kind of almost 14.
Just broken him in. Yeah.
Just whatever. What did you say his name was? Mia Tanton. Is this T? It's
on the screen. You can look on the screen.
Well, it's on that screen. I'm looking at the camera because I hate it when people are making videos and they're watching themselves on the screen instead of looking at the freaking lens. Anyway, so his name is Miatantan Takashaw de Canet of the House of Canet. He is a dragon marked person.
Artificer.
Thank you.
Do you want us to send you notes?
I was just going to say, you guys do my intro. I can't do it, apparently.
He's the brains of the groups, people.
According to the intro, yeah.
About to take it
the
to
brain,
Heavy air quotes. Like,
in Hilar's best son, the brain. Sound like Sam Elliott at a roadhouse before he beats someone up.
Oh, no. Don't eat the big white mint. Anyway, so... I love that movie so much. The original.
Anything with Sam Elliott, honestly, like, can anyone name me a movie where Sam Elliott was bad? Like, the movie might not have been good, but Sam Elliott's always good. It feels like to me. Like
Tron.
Wait a minute.
He wasn't in it.
Sam Elliott was in Tron. I'm like, what the? He's the guy. He's the best. He's the old guy that they're just like, well, I don't know why you've come to me. End of line.
All that is visible must pass beyond itself and grow into the realm of the invisible. Sorry, I just watched it last night. So anyway, he's a battlesmith artificer, and he has a mechano good boy named Spanner, and who is the point of some contention, maybe a little bit. And then there is this lovely lady here.
Always a pleasure to have Tren with us, who I'd like to point out. Tren made a Tron joke. Tron, if you will, joke. Anyway, I'm so excited for Sam Elliott to do a remake of Tron. Please, can we make this happen?
Yeah, him and Jared Leto. That's going to be a combination for the ages, baby.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
but you still have to have Bruce Boxleitner in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, right. Anyway, oh man. Anyway, always a pleasure to have Tren with us, and also always a pleasure to have, of course, Marie Bilodeau with us. It is good to see you, Marie. Bonne année. That's not quite right.
No, that was good.
Yay. So I hope all is well with you. How are you doing? Is there how is the first same question, like how's 2025 working out for you in the extensive time you've spent in it, and who are you playing tonight?
It's
see
someone's gonna be like, this year's been tremendous. I'm just waiting, like it's gonna be great.
On the first day of 2025, I learned about maggots.
Oh yeah, I saw some
Oh.
reference. The reference. I'm like, oh no.
I
Yeah.
can continue. Do you want me to keep?
No,
I'm not gonna
please
keep
don't.
saying.
That'd be great.
Do you want to hear instead about the 24th of December,
Okay.
which
I don't know.
is
Do
the-
I, Marie? Only you can know this.
Approach with
photographic
caution.
So, that is the 24th of December is the Réveillon, which is a traditional like Quebecois Christmas time where you stay up till midnight, then you go to midnight, or you used to go to midnight mass, and then you'd come home and eat supper, and then you'd open all the gifts, and then in my experience, all the men would be asleep by 5. The women would clean up and then play games till like 8 in the morning. So that's like, that's the Réveillon. We do it very differently now. We like meet for supper and then we're in bed by 10. But the good thing about the Réveillon as well is we have a bûche. And I believe it's called a Yule log in Anglais. And this bûche is like it's a traditional dessert, and we never made it homemade at home. Like we just didn't. But then here comes Carrie, and Carrie is like, "Yeah, we're gonna make a homemade bûche for your family. That's how it's gonna be because we host." So Carrie has to like bring it.
Right.
So what she made is the rolled part
Yep.
was gingerbread.
Okay.
And then inside of it, it was cream cheese with eggnog.
Eggnog
then-
cream cheese. Okay.
Uh-huh. And we learned that, eggnog has emulsifier in it, so it was a little bit more leaky than usual, but it was so delicious. It was like cheesecake inside, and then on top of it, the frosting. Traditionally, there's some frosting so that you get your bush design on it. It was a cinnamon frosting.
Oh.
So there you go. That's what I will tell you instead.
That's
You're
much
welcome.
nicer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome.
That's
I got your backs. I do.
That's
I
much
do.
better. Well, only after threatening us with the potential drive-by of guess what I found out, and we're like, wait, like we don't want to know. Actually, like
I
so
sang.
You-
What do you? Just said
yes
so
later you're like
none.
yes, it was the singing. Well, that sounds like it was not
I
what
love
you just
you.
said. This later thing that you said was delicious, and in that spirit. I am glad that we've started out 2025 the way we ended 2024, which is Marie telling us about delicious things that we are all currently not eating. So in that spirit, how since that seems to have gone well for you, Marie, who are you playing tonight when not eating delicious Yule log stuff?
I am playing Mirime Hawksmoor. I am a College of Sword bard. I like to stab things. I like to sing. I like to cast some magic things. I like to hang out with my friends and my sister, and I am really excited about tonight.
That's right, and you are also apparently the only remaining person who can decode the prophecy, the draconic prophecy. So I'm sure that should be fine. No pressure.
That's because you kill people. If you didn't murder,
You-
you wouldn't have this problem.
I balls and strikes. That's all I am. Just a ref. Always a pleasure to have Marie with us. Also a pleasure to have.
You could do the. I like to sing and stab. I like to sing and stab.
Yeah, and then you're a murderer.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. I was waiting to be like this before or after you puree people with your flourishes.
Murder hobo, I am a murder bard, sir.
Exactly. I'm a murder hobo in French, which makes it much nicer somehow. Anyway, always a pleasure to have Marie with us. Also a pleasure to have Brandon O'Brien with us. And by the way, Marie and Brandon will be with me next month. I have sent them information on this now for our event happening at St. John's University, my university, which is called A Time for Tales, Storytellers in Conversation. And they will be joined by Brian Talwara, and they will be speaking in front of hopefully a group of hundreds, I don't know, but a group as many as we can assemble, about storytelling in this current modern age and where they see things. I'm super excited that my department is sponsoring it, and most of all excited that I'll get to see all my friends in person as they do this. So they will be here, but right now Brandon is with us virtually. So Brandon, good to see you. How are you? How is the new year treating you, the first 4 days of it, and who are you playing today? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Oh,
my God, what just happened?
There.
I am unmuted in the thing. My mic hated me just now. Hello.
Oh,
Hi,
no.
everybody. Can you hear me? Please
Yes.
tell me you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Grand. Hello. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Productivity is a sham. I set very eager goals for myself. I tried to be restrained this time just to be more productive. This entire week has not been good to me. This is mildly resolving itself now. Immediately after this call, I am going to go right to bed, and I'm going to get back up and do a lot of work. Hopefully, question mark. But yes, this year has been good so far. I mean, I am alive. There's that. I have done the thing that I always do, the thing that I told everybody that I will be doing a recap stream for on my channel very, very soon, which is I spent the last hours of 2024 watching the NHK Kohaku Utagasen, and then I spent the rest of the day being asleep. So that was fun, listening to pop songs and listening to Iori and my good friend Noel, who just so happened to be up at that hour watching Kohaku at the same time. Have very strong feelings about Korean idol group uniforms. And how much classic rock is so much better than listening to boy bands like squeak their shoes against shiny glass floors. But yes,
I love how everything you're saying, by the way, gets like more specifically focused in a direction I might not have expected. You know, where you're like, it's like listening to this, and you get to the squeaky shoes. I'm like, I no longer know where we're going. I'm just gonna listen because it's great.
One of these days actually will be hilarious because you actually do perform. You are actually a musician. One of these days, if you are free at like 8 a.m. Central Time on the 31st of 2025, I'm gonna bully you to also watch it.
Yeah, listen, man. You know, could see it.
But yeah, and then I prepared to like blitz through this first week of 2025 by being my most productive self. I have been consuming so many YouTube videos about what apps I should put on my phone. They are not very helpful. That is not how people become productive. So this week I'm being patient with myself, and then very soon next week my goal is to be as kind but as responsible with my capacity to do work as possible. We are so close to finishing Grey Shade. I just want to put Grey Shade in Grey's hands.
So do I. I want to see it because I'm so excited.
So yes, I am renewed. We're gonna see how long that lasts, and we're gonna see how long that lasts for Rowan as well. Hello everybody, I'm Brandon O'Brien. I am a poet, writer, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago, and tonight I will be playing Rowan Shallow, the crew's resident explosion expert, the wild magic sorcerer whose magic is gone, and he has forgotten where we are and what we were doing the last time we were here.
That's fine. We'll handle that with a recap. I can say that disintegrations were in our past, and we'll see if they involve our future.
Yes, that did in fact happen. I did in fact turn a giant soldier covered in bones into a giant pile of ash covered in ash. So that was fun.
Yes.
You also got scolded.
Yeah, and then got
I
scolded
was also
for
scolded.
it.
Yes.
I will
Well,
give
not
you
for that one,
such
for the other one.
Yes,
But
yes. Right. Yeah, that one was fine. It was when you went the next stage. You just you know, like no one ever talks about the guy with bones, little children with bones.
Brandon knows that Rowan deserves it, but Rowan does not know that.
Rowan does not know
still
it,
believes that was undeserved. But yes, we shall see how that goes on from this point onward.
Very excited for that, and you know, joking aside about Grey Shade, I'm serious. Like I've seen a great deal of it, and I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. And we do the adventure portion of this is in edits. The world part is going into edits next, so it does look. They're going to be doing it for the summer shows, which means summer cons. So really mid-year. So we're really looking at
the goal is that people will at least get to see it by this Gen Con. I am praying and hoping at least.
Should be able to, I think. So I'm excited for that. It's gonna be awesome. So thank you, Brendan. Always a pleasure. Also, always a pleasure to have Jennifer Brozek with us again, who you know, is very pleased with this group for reasons we won't get into. You know, I'm just saying, very pleased. Jen, how has life been on the West Coast for the first 4 days of 2025, etc.? And whom are you playing this evening?
Overall, it has been pretty good. Like I gamed New Year's Eve until like 9.
Let's
and
go.
Then
I mean, yeah.
Went off and did other stuff, and I drank with my husband, and we were in bed by, I don't know, 11. But so beyond the stuff that I was telling you about earlier, I had another game earlier today, and it happened to be one of the people's birthdays. So I don't know if people know Amanda Cherry. She is Amanda the Ginger on Blue Sky, and she is a fabulous cook. So for this day, she chose we rotate by month. She made, let me see, twice baked potatoes, Parmesan cream spinach, crab stuffed portobello mushrooms, individual Wagyu Wellingtons, and Victoria sandwich with fresh berries. It was very good. I'm so full from lunch that my dinner is bone broth, which my husband homemade for me.
Wow.
You know, the 5-hour cooking with the mirepoix and the so I am well fed. I am actually I'm very full. I have actually been taking half days all this week because I decided I needed to, because I had a bit of the don't want us. I had a bit of people not being around, and I did some recording for a project. So next week is when I get back to normal.
You and the rest of the world, everyone just be like, all right, it's time. You know?
It is. But I do have a new thing that on Sundays, barring my dear pen pal Zoom calls, no internet on Sundays.
Okay.
I need to just not, because it burns me out, and I have enough projects going on with Catalyst and other people that I'm working with that I'm like, okay, I need to not do this. Plus, I had declared it to be the year of the unfinished book, because I have started like dozens of novels to read for fun, and I have not finished them.
I thought you were going to say dozens of them to write, and I was going to be like, that's our show. I'm going to end the call now. I was like, no one is allowed to write dozens of novels except Matt Forbeck, and even him,
there are other people who write that fast, but I do have novels and stories to write that I am contracted. But I'm going to be reading for pleasure. I am decluttering this year. Our first project was Thursday. We went through the pantry. I found food grade vinegar from 2013.
Nice.
It was a great year for vinegar. Yeah.
Good. Yeah,
great year for
I'm
vinegar.
just like, I have decluttered this pantry. What the hell was this? So, also 1,000 quart Ziploc bags, which I have now distributed among my friends, because 1,000.
1,000 1-quart Ziploc bags?
Yeah, I thought it was I had the same reaction. I'm like, 1,000 quart bag? I'm like, what?
No, you're right. 1,000 1-quart Ziploc bags.
We're going to throw that in the van. We'll be over in a while with the 1,000 quart bag.
No, the biggest Ziploc bag we have are the 2 gallons, which we use for bone bags, because we freeze the bones for homemade bone broth.
Yeah.
But as part of the whole being a little bit more gentle with myself, I'm playing Nisiana Di Jurasco, a cleric of Eberron. She is dragon marked healer from the House of Healing, and she believes in you, and she believes in herself.
Indeed, and got to show about those things, even if she's not mad, just slightly disappointed.
Sometimes I just have to have a conversation with people when they go up to that line and do an interpretive dance that
rhymes with bablintegrate, for example.
That was the disintegrate part. It wasn't a problem. It was the words he used before.
Yeah. Yes.
I
know, and it was glorious to watch that play happen.
And my lovely thing is, like, Valerian has no idea.
Mm-hmm.
He never heard it.
Didn't see it.
Nisiana came over and asked him how to not do collateral damage, because she is now getting up to the power where she can do area of effect spells.
Yes, let me point out, by the way, as we move over to John as well. Always a pleasure to have Jen with us. And let me point out that in that spirit, it struck me that what we've really got now, I don't know how many people will remember the classic Nintendo game Pro Wrestling, but there was a character in Pro Wrestling called Starman. And I want to point out, who was one of the best characters in the game, that really John has become essentially a pro wrestler. And I know this is going to click well with Brandon as well, because I know about Brandon's love for things of this nature. There's a great deal of anime in 80s level pro wrestling, let me tell you. And I just struck me that really Alarion was just doing a from the top rope, to destroy zombie horse handlers, basically. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then you're behind on your VOD watching, Chad, and you need to do better with that. But it is a great pleasure to have John with us. Happy New Year, John. Good luck to your Packers. While we're playing this, I'm going to hope that that the Steelers decide to actually show up for a game instead of the last 4 weeks. But either way, I look forward to them losing in the first round and watching the Packers play well. How are you doing, and who are you playing tonight?
So very quickly, I had a realization that pains me greatly. And it's been, because there's been a lot of, I'll get off the sports ball reference in a minute, but since you brought it up first, I feel compelled to respond. I am very concerned that this year, the Packers are the Cowboys of the NFC North.
Oh.
And if you know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Well, they did it to the Cowboys last year.
Yeah, we might get it done to us this year. I'm very concerned. Anyways, we'll see what happens. I know you guys kind of got a bum rap too the last couple of games, so we'll see how it all shakes out, man.
Agreed.
But your coach still has that winning record of like 18 seasons.
I know.
It is, which no one cares once you hit the playoffs. It's like Tom Grassi says when he did the Chiefs, like, oh, good, thank goodness the preseason is finally over. Now we can finally get to the real season.
I know.
Anyways,
it is pretty amazing though. But yes.
So I'm also glad that everyone had such wonderful, delightful New Year's Eves and New Year's Days. Mine was frantically spent trying to cram a novel out the door, which I did not get. So I was up till 3 a.m. doing that. Anyways, the book is now published. I'm very happy.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
You sound very thrilled.
So my year's been going swimmingly. Anyways, it's fine. It's all fine. I'm glad everyone's here. I hope everyone's okay. And everyone else had a nice and pleasant and happy and peaceful New Year's Eve. Yes, I'm playing a character called Alarion, who's apparently a pro wrestler. The funny part is when I went back to the artist whose name I cannot remember right now.
Hannah.
When I went back to her to get my level 10 glow up, we both decided to take them in a little bit more of an anime style with the helmet and everything. So it was just kind of funny that you mentioned that. And now with the Iron Titan ability, the transformation is complete. I have achieved final form.
You just have to do the called shot where you're just like, Iron Titan, and everyone's like,
yeah. Now someone's got to give me the illusion of like a squared circle I can just jump off of it.
Yes, exactly.
Anyways, I am playing a Star Force Aegis, having a lot of fun with this. This is a homebrew kit that you can find on Drive-Thru RPG. It's a lot of fun. The Aegis kit is a lot of fun, especially combined with the Warforged, because they seem to go very well together. And having a lot of fun with all these folks and Mr. Disintegrator and everybody else who's here. And we're about to head off, I think, into the wilds of the ruins of Seer, sorry.
I was going to say, Roar holds first to find out about the ruins of Metro.
And I'm sure this will go swimmingly.
Oh, yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? Possibly taking on the Emerald Claw, possibly taking whatever else is infesting this place in the gray. Who knows? It's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing. It is a great pleasure to have this crew with us. I'm very excited to have them back. And with no further ado, also excited to have Chat back with us. And Chat, let's do this thing. I'm going to fire up some music here, and let's talk about what happened in our last session. We had a set of, I would call them sort of duet role plays, where we had people talking to each other about certain things that happened. In particular, Nisiana demonstrating a little element of disappointment with Rowan's stated reason for disintegrating certain creatures that are threats, and with Alarion for deciding to become a pro wrestler, more or less. And in the process of these discussions, found out something about themselves and what they all are going to value. The King's Citadel, of course, has managed to come together to this extent for the last 14 levels plus, because they have been attempting first to sort of head off war between Brayland and the other the others of the 5 nations, then trying to deal with the terrorist threat of the Emerald Claw, and also looming in the background, the imminent threat, although, well, was imminent, now is slightly receded, but is still a major threat, of the Lord of Blades, a warforged that wishes ill to the Five Nations and to Brayland. And all this while also trying to figure out their own individual life paths and sort through those and their traumas. It's been an eventful time, is what I'm saying. And in our last session, they had a chance to speak a little bit more about that and to get themselves ready for what is going to happen next, because they have found out that the Emerald Claw, not enclave, but the small cell, I guess, of the Emerald Claw that they managed to unearth. They managed to defeat them, but they had been planning the Emerald Claw cell, an archaeological expedition to a city known as Metrol. That is the former capital of Seir, which was destroyed when the Mourning happened, the thing which ended the last war, and about which, as we've discussed several times on this show, Tanton is intimately familiar. He was not there when it happened, but it has haunted his dreams and his nightmares. And there is the very real possibility they may have to go back there. But they can't go back there yet, because first they have to find who it is that can give more information about what the Emerald Claw might have been seeking and what the sort of deeper purposes and meanings of the Emerald Claw's activities are. To do this, they have heard about a deadly and ancient prophet known as Spinweave, a sage, really. There's not a lot of detail about what exactly or who Spinweave is, but it is suggested that Spinweave lives somewhere near or around the Maror Holds. But, there's no, follow this, blinking sign like in The Witcher 3 to get you to Spinweave's lair. So instead, the party has to do a little bit of good old-fashioned detective work. And that means that they have to go, as they have decided, to the Maror Holds to speak to a couple of people there. Like, for example, Solring Moranin, the creator of the Oracle of War, and also its sister machine, paired machine of the Oracle of Bones, something which the Lord of Blades now has and which the Lord of Blades could use to wreak havoc upon the Five Nations. And by the way, this is made worse by the fact that the Oracle of War itself belched out another one of its glitching out prophecies about what's likely to happen, and that if the party is able to discover the details of this, they may, and I believe I quote, loosen the hold of the Emerald Claw upon the gates of doom, which sounds pretty bad. So you'd want to stop that from happening. You'd want to loosen those grips, that grip, if you possibly can. And so the party at the very end of our last session, after this discussion and speaking with Halar, had decided that they were going to try to go to the Maror Holds, speak to Solring or someone who could give them details about how to find Spinweave, and having gotten that information, then find Spinweave themselves, whoever and wherever they may be. And with all that said, I want to, loosen the grip of the Emerald Claw on the gates to doom. Not bad. It was pretty close. As we hand things back over to the party, I want to move us slightly forward to where the party is on its airship. Conveniently, the party now has one, but this is what happens when you get to level 14, people. And is traveling to the Maror Holds, getting onto the ship. Now, I will mention that if the party has anything they want to do first, but I am going to ask that we not spend very much time RPing that, because we already spent a lot of time on that with Salvation. So you folks had a lot of stuff you wanted to get done at the Maror Holds, at least in getting this information. So if there's anything left over that you're like, make sure that we do this before we leave, now's the time to say that. But otherwise, we're heading on that airship, I think. So does the party have anything it wishes to do?
The only thing I needed to do was, once we got back to town, was deliver the supplies to the church, and that was it.
Okay.
Super fast.
Yes, and that I think because you have already spoken to Mother Johanna as well.
Before this, but
I know.
I can give it to an acolyte, say, here, they're distributed in town, blah, 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 we got to go.
Yeah, for sure. No, I got you.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fine.
And then take off like Iron Man, of course.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else have anything that they needed to do in Salvation before departing for the Maror Holds? Yes, Nisia.
We said that I had 24 hours, right?
Yes, before getting on the ship, yes. Mm-hmm.
I needed to have I talked to Mother Johanna. I needed a spot for
Word of Recall.
Word of Recall, which means I needed 24 hours to sanctify. Oh, we wanted to know if we could make that on our ship.
Right, and the
You
answer
said
to
no.
yeah, exactly. Not that way, but you can do it with Mother Johanna's chapel, such as it is, although it's been through hell and back, but it's more or less under repair now, and has been in better shape than in previous months with it, I would say. So, yeah.
So basically, I want to, like, not in the chapel itself, like in its own little area, because it has to be consecrated to Eberron.
Yep.
With her permission, of course,
Yep.
and the reason we want to do it, so that I have word of recall set up, so that if we are about to go and do something really, 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 really bad, or we need to really get out, and Rowan is down again, or something.
Again. You just bamf back to the sanctified area, basically.
Yes, and I can take, I believe, 6 people with me. I can take up to 5 willing creatures within 5 feet of me back to the
counting
central.
you, or in addition to you.
In addition to me.
Okay, I was gonna say, Spanner's just sitting there, like
you and up to 5 willing creatures.
Yes. Okay, that sounds good. Yes, you can certainly do that too. Marame, Rowan, Tanton, anything else you wanted to do before leaving? Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned as well that there has also been some discussion between Rowan and Fjarlin, a little bit about the House of Shadow and about what needs to happen when they are there, that when they are out. No particular like quests per se, but information that Fjarlin has been giving to Rowan about potential concerns that the, if you will, intelligence community has about this trip that they're about to take. So, Marame, Rowan, Tanton, anything else that you folks wanted to do?
I am rereading the text for the teleport spell.
Okay.
I want to be aware of how much work I still need to do if I wanted to establish like a permanent teleportation circle here.
right next to the word of recall. You notice, chat, how as the levels increase, the paranoia and the experience increases, the paranoia increases. So the party's like, I want a word of recall. Can I put a sanction? Like, I'd like to put a teleport circle. Like everyone's got like a, how do I get out of? You realize this leads eventually to liches and phylacteries.
Just saying. The convenient thing about us getting stronger is that everything can still kill us.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Agree.
Whenever necessary.
Yeah.
Agree. So if you're able to sort of look at that and see, I'm trying to think, though, about whether you would have enough time to establish a permanent teleport circle. I would need to look again at the description. I don't think so, right?
You have to cast it every day for a year.
That's what I thought, yeah. So I don't think you have time to do that.
24 hours is one thing.
Wait! An associated object still solves this problem. I guess I steal something from...
That's an anchor for teleporting. That's not a teleportation circle. They're different spells.
Well, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But an associated object
you can take a rock.
Me 1 to 100. But that's not what Rowan would do.
I know. I'm just saying you can take a rock. Steal something from Halar's place. You know how much he owes us? God.
No, yeah, exactly. I think I'm just gonna.
I'm right here in the room. No, I'm just kidding.
Hi, Halar. I'm just going to borrow this spoon for reasons that are not important to you, but will be very vital at some point in the future.
Hang on,
not matter at all.
That's my coffee stirring spoon. You can't take that from me.
You have looks in drawer, dozens of other teaspoons.
They're not for coffee stirring.
Oh God!
He's right. I actually have a specific thing to stir my coffee with.
See?
So you
I don't blame you. I have a favorite fork.
Yeah. No, for sure. Are you actually taking it from Halar to use for this use?
Yes, I am going to keep this spoon.
All right, so you have gotten.
So that means it is an associated object that should responsibly mean that I have 1 to 100 roll to teleport to Halar's place whenever necessary.
Okay. Good to know, and definitely remind me about. I can't wait for in the heat of battle to be like, I pull out my teleportation spoon and me to look at you like you have two heads and then go, oh yeah,
Or
the
he's got to say
spoon.
spoon.
Yes, that's obviously
yes, very
spoon.
important. Yeah.
The city,
great battle cry.
the city.
While
Anyway,
I'm setting up my word of recall sanctuary, can you identify the dagger and wand we took from?
No, Tantin can. I can't.
Well, you have.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I was waiting for this conversation to finish and say that's what Tantin does. He spends some time identifying the wand and dagger that we got from that Russian ballerina Giselle.
okay, right. I was very much like,
Russian
who are we talking about? Like,
yeah, I'm not sure where that came up.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's from the Hunt for Red October.
I love Hunt for Red October, but
Tim Curry's character, the doctor, they're having dinner in the captain's quarters, and he says,
yeah.
"You remember that Russian ballerina? You remember the Russian girl Giselle? You remember how beautiful she was?" Anyway, so that's I always think of Russian ballerinas whenever I see Giselle.
Spork of many places, exactly, Proxima. Okay, so yes, and the two things we're looking at is the dagger and the wand, right?
Yep. And Brandon, remember, I think that taking a spoon trick, I think that only works for like 2 weeks, and then the connection to the original location fades, and you'll have to go and get another spoon. So I think
the text that I see says it has to be taken from the desired location within the last 6 months. So I guess that's how
6
long
months,
it would
6
last.
months.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Practically 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
Times
yeah,
over.
close to
we're
that.
gonna destroy the Lord of Blades before that happens.
Yeah, I mean
This
we
trip,
just
yeah, this trip's about 7 months, but no. God damn it.
God.
Okay. But we have the beauty of the montage, so we won't actually have to do it that way. Okay. So, yes, so let's talk about those things. The dagger does not appear to be anything unusual, Tantin. It's just a regular dagger, not even magical, in good shape, but nothing special. The wand, however, is interesting because it doesn't have any specific spell that is associated with it, but it unquestionably is radiating magic, and the magic is enchantment. But you don't know, but there's nothing specific about it. Like, it seems as if it might be keyed to a specific thing, like you use it to do a specific thing. It's almost a locally relevant spell, if that's the thing I just made up, as opposed to being a broader spell that's associated with things like it's a wand of lightning or whatever. That you can't tell. So it seems like it was just unique to something, although you don't know what.
I pass that information along.
Okay. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, Marimé, anything else that you wanted to do?
No, I'm going to, as we travel, I'm going to, just kind of try to reconnect with, like, see if I can get anything from the choreo from my mentor or anything like that as I dream, but that's just, I nap. I have naps, Greg.
I have naps.
Yeah.
There is one thing I want to note, Marimé, which is that as you are napping, what keeps entering your head. Now, typically, the way that you have dreamed to this point, as you've described it, is there's a kind of almost meditative process where you sort of, drift off into sleep, and then the dreams themselves are quite vivid and sort of narratively associated and whatever. What you've discovered here is that since the draconic prophecy, since the demise apparently of Flamewind, or at least the revelation that this Flamewind was not who you thought it was, you have found that as you have those moments of dreaming, they are interrupted by references to the same thing relating to the draconic prophecy. So in this case, there are splashes of green, specifically emerald green, and gates, doors that are closed, right? Yeah, and I'm using it advisedly. It almost feels on the nose, really, because and it's almost as if it's very difficult for you, A, to get super restful sleep, but B, to be able to do what the Clashed are capable of doing, which is to be able to really use their dreams to discover things, to venture far afield, and so forth. There's a bit of interference, might be the way to describe it, from the prophecy.
Okay. I will mull upon that and yawn a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're not exhausted. It's not
No.
having that effect yet. But it's definitely not great because you've never had that experience. Okay. Otherwise, though, you folks are able to take your airship. Now, I should say that your airship is the one that you originally took back from the capital of from Karnath, the capital of Karnath, and you were able to travel back. Hold on a second. Why are there fireworks on? Really? We already had fireworks. Get the hell out of here.
Really long fuses.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. Happy New Year, January 4th. Anyway.
Some people were just too busy being concussed on New Year's Day.
I guess so.
They didn't know what day it was.
These are pretty big ones too. Like they're like definitely the more professional varieties.
Leftovers.
Yeah, exactly. We have a few left. We gotta use them before tax time.
Yep.
Happy New Minute. Happy New Minute.
Happy New Minute. Happy New Minute again. Okay. So you folks are so this ship anyway that you were on is both fast and under the circumstances reasonably secure, at least more. Like you've had bad experiences, let's say, with airships and security before. This one, for a lot of reasons, seems to be better suited for your purposes, in part because it is not a large crew and it's not a huge ship. What it is fast and difficult to actually spot. Because A, it can go a little bit higher than most detection spells and such would be able to determine. And B, even if it were detected, have I mentioned it's fast? Because it's fast. It's very, very quick. And that's probably better than taking something like the Argonth, which is enormous and very difficult to penetrate its armor and so forth. And then, maybe is susceptible to being taken over. Not that that's ever happened within the last few months. And so your ship has been able to do this. Incidentally, does anyone have, because this is up to you, do you have a name for your airship? Because you could name it if you wish.
Bullseye.
Bullseye the nation.
That sounds like a terrible idea for a dirigible.
Its name is Slow Moving
I'm
Target.
just remembering what happened to our last airship. Thank you very much. We still don't know how that happened.
Why don't we call
Lawn
it
dart.
Wreck? Yeah.
Lawn dart. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Don't you mean Jart? Is that what we're talking about? The Jart.
Icarus. No.
Really? How about you call it Titanic? What are they? Come on now, people.
Because it's not Titanic.
Well,
The Carpathia. There we go.
the Carpathia?
I'm just throwing things out there.
Okay.
That's the ship that saved the people from the Titanic.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, right.
They didn't save us from when our airship blew up around us. They weren't even around. So, does this ship didn't come with a name? It was just blank.
No,
It did not. It was one of the Keeper the Silver Flames ships, sort of essentially with her compliments.
Ship number one. Exactly.
So yeah, it did not have really one that it was called before. It's fairly new too.
We should probably call it something like Hiding Place of the Oracle of War.
Not the King Citadel ship.
Right.
There you go. That might be a little bit long to paint on the bow, though, I think.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Not the King's Kindle ship.
we could call it, actually call it something like, name it after a creature that is very fast in this world. Or
we could call it, this is Trent saying it, not Tant and Tant is just sort of staring. We could call it Throne Holds Hope.
Ooh.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that's like involves something or other's hope is probably going to work out very well.
Well, especially
Yeah.
Thronehold, since
Yeah.
that's the treaty that ended the last
Yeah,
war.
I know. Throne.
all
A little on the nose, but okay.
You know what? Sometimes we can be a bit on the nose. Not like we're subtle.
I never said anything about subtle, no. God knows we are not that.
Throne holds hope the airship. I do appreciate chat giving us some suggestions. We had the deep one, fart in the wind. I don't think that was going to work.
Unladen swallow.
Long
was
shot,
very
the good ship lollipop, unladen swallow. Yeah,
I'm glad no one said airy McAirship.
I was just about to say
just-
airship
right?
McAirface or whatever. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't do that. All right, so with assuming the party's okay with this, Throne holds hope is going to continue, and we are going to move over to the map here, chat, because we begin here, and I have this urge to do like this, the dotted line thing where it like does the,
I was thinking
Exactly.
I was literally thinking between I was literally thinking between that and if you had the power to turn this into an old school Final Fantasy 7 overworld map.
Oh God, that was the best part of any Final Fantasy game. Anyone who's ever played this knows this. When you get the freaking airship and you spend 5 minutes being like, no random battles, just flying around and like, oh God, oh man, it was so good.
And they had the happiest little jaunty tune too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
And suddenly you were like, God, we need more money. All right, fine. Just land and we go running around.
Exactly. But the ship actually goes, and this is what you all decided, goes essentially this way. Around the Mournland. And the reason is that it seemed like not a good idea to anybody to be going directly into the Mournland right now. And so, and also the ship is, as I said, quite fast. And so you head north over the Burnt Wood. Very appropriate, by the way, that it's called Throne Holds Hope, because if you let me zoom in for a minute, you will notice that you will pass directly over the aforementioned Thronehold, which is literally right here. So there's Thronehold, so very appropriate that the ship passes over it. And then east over Korth, where you folks were before, the Nightwood, the Ashen Spires, over the nation of Karnath. Obviously, Karnath cleared you to do this. Again, it is the ship that came from Karnath. Over Ice Top Mountains, and eventually ending up here near the Iron Root Mountains and the Maror Holds. As you are sort of traveling on this way, from Irontown on the southern shore of Lake Dark, and that is right here, Lake Dark, you follow the lightning rail line to the rocky heights of the Ironroot Mountains and the dwarven city of Krona Peak. And that is where you're actually going, because that's where allegedly Sol Ring is, that's where allegedly others are. And when you arrive here, when you get down to this spot, the first order of business, I assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, is to try to track down Sol Ring. Is that? I don't want to assume. Is that right? Okay.
Pretty much.
So assuming that you're doing that, excuse me, assuming that that's what you're doing. The name Sol Ring, of course, immediately brings recognition from pretty much everybody that you want to ask. And so the dwarves there immediately start talking more about it. And I think it's appropriate, since I happen to have in front of me the Exploring Eberron book from Keith Baker himself. I think it's important to talk very briefly about the Maror Holds. So let me just mention that for chat and for the benefit of the players.
It's probably pretty refreshing to get way out here where nobody knows who the hell the freaking King Citadel is.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. That is correct. So the thing about the Maror Holds is it is occupied by dwarves, but as you might have noticed, those of you following the campaign for a while, sort of traditional assumptions about what a particular in 5th edition race, in the new edition species, is those things are not quite the same level that might be the case here. The dwarves, actually, the Maror dwarves, are not particularly interested in recording the past. They are much more interested in the present and future. They care deeply about family, But one of the things that the dwarves enjoy the most is being able to get involved in the telling of tales. And those who are expert at being able to do that are ones that will sort of rise in dwarven society, at least in terms of social status and things like that. There are a number of artificers, of course, among the Marorhold dwarves. They are, strong and hardy and that sort of thing. But if you imagine dwarves and you think immediately about they dug too greedily and too deep type of thing, that's not exactly as much as what the dwarves are interested in as they are about telling various tales and histories of them. I'm not going to go through all of the history here right now, but I am going to say that the one thing that crosses over from what you might believe about dwarves from the past is that they do happen to love treasure. But the reason is because they happen to love the way that the treasure reminds them of the impermanence of existence and the love of beauty while they are a part of said existence. So they love gifts, they love beautiful things, they love quality work, and they do love things that are durable, in part because that durability allows them to tell tales and pass them down from generation to generation. A lot of heirlooms among the Maror dwarves is what I would describe. And the other thing that I want to note is that the Marorholds are also known for something called the War Below. It is basically a group of enemies that the Maror faced that are known as the Delkir. And the Delkir are exactly the same thing that the Emerald Claw is apparently looking at, these Delkir ruins that might be found below the Marorholds and also might eventually lead them to expeditions into the Morning and to Seer. And so that's a little bit of the, I'm going very quickly through this history because there's way too much to talk about, but it's just to give you a little bit of a sense of what these creatures are like. So when you arrive at the Marorholds to find Sol Ring, it doesn't take you long before you find where the house is. Clan Morannon is the largest and strongest of the ruling clans. The mythical Morannon, from which they derive their house, is said to have been the son of the last king of the realm below, and it was he who rallied the exiles to establish the Marorholds in the first place. And if you listen to tale spinners, the dwarven name for bards, they will tell you that it was the bargain with Morannon that ensured prosperity for the dwarves. In fact, Kol Karan's throne is the largest temple dedicated to the sovereign, which has connections to the Silver Flame, in Corvair. And so Morannon is basically highly respected, and of course Sol Ring among those. So, when you are finally brought to House Morannon and you're brought in to meet Sol Ring comes out looking much the same as before when you knew him. It wasn't all that long ago that you saw him. And his eyes light up when he sees you, and he kind of bustles over to shake your hand, clasp your forearm, slap you in the back, etc. And, it's good to see you, my friends. I knew that you were on your way. I'd heard rumors, but nothing specific. How have you been? I suppose I should know any time that you show up it means there's trouble in your wake. Trouble you're trying to head off, presumably. Here, please sit. And you sit down. If you wish to sit down, there are chairs that are available there, all of which are beautifully constructed. And you notice that as you sit down in them, they seem to meld to your bodies. And you realize that that's because they have been made out of almost thousands of small little parts that rearrange themselves to your person as you sit down mechanically. And so, super comfortable chair. Imagine like a memory foam, except it's, metal parts, and they're not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
There was a chair like that in one of the first 3 Shadowrun novels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I did not. There's been a little bit of noise lately about people ripping people off. I did not. I'm just saying it wasn't me. Okay, I didn't. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Didn't do anything. I have nothing here. So anyway, so you all sit down, and he says, "It's good to see you, but what can I do for you, my friends?"
Who else is in this room?
Right now, only him. Well, and you all, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
What would one need to do to verify that no one is listening in on or watching this room by mechanical or magical means.
You ask him this, Ron?
Yes.
Okay. He says, it's one of those situations, is it? Well, he gets up. Now, how many of you, I hope most of you in this call anyway, have seen Blade Runner?
Many times.
Okay. Is everyone at
The
some
first,
point?
Yes.
the first one.
I needed to make sure that was on the list. I have in fact seen.
You haven't
Blade
seen him.
Runner.
You have not?
I have not.
Okay. So there's a sequence where right before they're about to, Deckard is about to administer the Voight Kampf test to see if Rachel Rosen is an android or a human. It says, I need less light. It's too bright in here. And he pushes a button, and you see this dark shield sort of cover the window and make the room much dimmer. It's a little bit like that. When Soul Ring goes over, he presses a couple of switches, and suddenly you are all conscious of the idea that this room, which is not enormous, seems slightly dimmer. And as you look around and you look carefully, you could see almost a slight shimmering, almost a dark shimmering around the entire perimeter of the room. And he says, now that is an invention of my own construction. It's, you might call it an anti-scrying circle. Nothing's going to be able to hear us from outside of it. There is one possibility. If they were incredibly high level, focused directly upon myself, and knew that we were having this conversation at this exact time in this exact location, then they'd be able to find out what we were talking about. Since no one can know any of those things I've just described, I think you can feel pretty safe here.
Fair enough.
And just Tanton just sort of a bitter sort of chuckle and just shakes his head for a minute.
Yeah, every time.
Almost rolls his eyes, but he doesn't say anything out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I see that, and I just look. I was like, "Yeah, I know." Every time we hear that it's safe, we get attacked.
So,
a second later, the room blows up. Yeah,
I was going to say, is our mind link up? If our mind link is up, he's going to be like, he knew we were coming.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to mention something about that. When you try to use the mind link, what you get largely, remember I talked about the static before with Mermaid's Dream? It's a little, you basically can't really understand what everyone's saying through the mind link.
So
now,
Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who would like to begin? And I turn to Illyrian.
I just heard a volunteer.
No.
They just look back at you.
I don't recall if we asked this before. I can't believe we wouldn't have, but just in case we did and I've forgotten, how do we destroy the Oracle of War?
And he sighs and he says, that's an excellent question I've been trying to determine myself.
Okay.
There's two ways that there's one way that I know of and one that's a theory. The one way that I know of for sure is to engage in a ritual. It's a ritual that involves several artificers, a few sorcerers essentially, along with them, and then, if possible, someone with experience in religious matters, clerics, you might say. If they're all together and engage in a year-long ritual in an isolated place, there is the possibility they could destroy the Oracle. At least that was the theory. That was, of course, also before it was lost in the gray for some time, and it hasn't been operating exactly according to code, as you yourself have seen. The second one's a theory, and that's if you bring it together with something equally possible, or equally powerful, something which is designed to do what the Oracle did, you could essentially bring together a positive and a negative energy within it. I guess what I'm saying is, if the Oracle of Bones could somehow be brought to close connection with the Oracle of War, there's a theory that one or both might be destroyed. But it's only a theory, it's never been tested. It's also possible bringing them into close proximity could vastly increase the power of both. And that's one reason I was always nervous to do something like that myself, even when I started realizing it was possible. I don't know anymore about whether the Oracle of Bones is entirely the way as I designed it, especially now that the Lord of Blades has brought it into the gray.
Delightful.
He
And
nods.
by that I mean horrid.
He nods. He says, "It is. The whole thing has been not what I intended. Famous last words, I suppose they'd say."
Let's hope not.
Yeah, he nods grimly.
Have any information on where exactly the Lord of Blades is now?
No. The last that we knew, he had vanished into the gray, and that's the worrisome thing. No news in this case is dangerous news. It's not as if it would have been easy to conceal a ship the size of the Argonth, and yet there's been no sign, nor no notice of it in any of the civilized lands anyway. But again, it's not easy to get anyone to go into the morning in the best of times, and certainly not now when everyone themselves is preparing for war. At least, though, you've done a good job in getting those people assembled. Even people here, among my people in the Maror holds, have been trying to put together their armies to prepare for whatever comes next. They see the Lord of Blades as a threat. You've given them that much at least.
They aren't the only threat.
And he sits back. Oh? Why?
Now I look at Ilarion. I'm like,
Which part? We've made enemies everywhere we go.
the Emerald Claw and why we are here and why we need to talk to Soul Ring.
Why am I this? Oh, yeah, that's true. So Philip, I'm going to do this narrative, not in RP, I don't think it's necessary. To fill him in on the whole thing with the Emerald Claw. Who has the tablet? Who has the
sigil?
Plaque? The plaque, yeah.
I probably still have.
Yeah, so when that part comes, I'll motion to Tanton to bring it out. And give him the whole spiel about the city and the thing and the letter and all the information we found out in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
No, it's too long. Let me sum up.
By the way, I forgot that I have a picture of Soul Ring, so I will post that again on Roll20, or I mean on Twitch rather, so people can see it. So he gets more and more sort of like grim as you are explaining
everything. I thought he was
that's
grim before. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Double grim, like, grimception. It's grim all the way down. You get to the end of it, and he shakes his head and doesn't say anything for a long time, and he says, and you said you did show him the sigil, right?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
He says,
kind of everything's on the table, basically.
Okay. And he says, I know that sigil, though I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. As you've already discovered, it is indeed the mark of Spinweave. It's an ancient monstrous sage who resides in Sol Uldar, the realm below, under the Ironroot Mountains here in the Maror Holds. In centuries past, dwarves sought her counsel on esoteric matters. In fact, my own clan did it, but it always bore a heavy price. There was eventually even pages placed within our manuals of history. Not that we like to look back to the past other than for inspiration, but there were several rules, and one of them was to be careful and to avoid Spinweave whenever possible. I do know one dwarf, though, not from my clan, Clan Soldarak. His name was Rolforor. He led an expedition to speak to Spinweave not that long ago, actually, and he might know how to find Spinweave, or at least I knew that dwarf. I haven't seen him in over a century, but he lives somewhere around here. Now, it occurs to you that, as is the case often, another similarity with dwarves and the ones you know is that dwarves live a very long time, so when they're like, oh, fairly recently, 100 years ago, and he tells you that he might be found, this Rolforor, in somewhere in Krona Peak, which is where you are right now. Rolforor, by the way, is spelled Rolforror. Rolforor. So that's the last person that he knows. that has spoken, or at least was leading an expedition to speak to Spinweave.
Do you know if they returned?
No, I haven't seen them. Although I will say that the places where most of the time the dwarves go after an expedition is a place that they return to often, and that's the taverns around here. The place where he used to go is called the Stone Golem Tavern. I know that because I went there myself. And the truth is that I might know more of where he is, but as you know, I've been away from the Maror holds a while myself, only solved thanks to all of you. But Rolforor was a great spinner of tales, for sure. It was one of the reasons he was chosen as the leader. He was a charismatic dwarf, always managed to get people to follow him even when it seemed like he was going into disaster. Perhaps that's the only reason he got people enough money and funding and people together to go find Spinweave. I know there were some, including myself, who advised him against it, but he wouldn't be swayed. And if Spinweave had given him the information he needed, well, maybe he used it. I don't know, but I haven't heard seen hide nor hair of him since.
Do you know any of the costs that Spinweave demanded?
He sighs heavily and he says, 1. My great-great-grandfather made an arrangement with Spinweave. We wanted to know something more that would allow us to be able to build machinery that would be of use in combat and battle. You've seen the example of what we've produced. He also said when he did it, that the items that we produced themselves might do things beyond what we anticipated. I never want to be called a superstitious fool, but seeing what's happened to the Oracle of War, and he shakes his head, perhaps my great-great-grandfather's curse fell on me.
So the cost of information was a curse upon that which you used that information with?
He nods. So the tale tells. But it also may be an explanation, simply a reason to explain why my great-grandfather failed. We had meant to make an object we could use to help the dwarves of Maror Hold. Instead, we made an object that helped us simply to fight. And he shakes his head sadly. That wasn't what we ever really wanted to do.
A bit esoteric, but... All right.
Are there any records you can point us to of previous encounters with... I already forgot this thing's name. Spinweave. Sorry, got it. Spinweave. Perhaps Captain. As you said, I know that you dwarves do not look to the past except for inspiration. However, in this case, forewarned is forearmed.
And he nods and he says, well, not necessarily Spinweave herself. After what happened, one of the rules we had was to not speak of our dealings with her. I only know of it because of my own great-great-grandfather's stories that he would tell me. But having said that, and he goes and he pulls out. Now, his room does not have a lot of books, which may be in keeping with this sort of, history thing, or at least the books that he has are very modern, treaties on the engineering of, widgets and sprockets type of thing. But he does pull out one book which does look older.
Spinweave's Bedtime Stories.
Yeah, exactly. Spinweave and you. Okay, so...
How to consult the sage without going completely batshit crazy.
What happens when you meet...
It's a very short tome.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Blake inside.
Okay. So, give me 1 second whilst I find the details about this place. 1 second. Okay. Nope, not that.
No, of course not that.
Okay. Right. Okay. So, Sol Aldar. So, he pulls out this book, which describes the place of Sol Udar, which is the place where some of the battles happened, and within which, during that war below that I mentioned, and within which, at one point, Spinweave was supposed to be very familiar. The dwarves expanded and explored Sol Uldar, and as he reads a little bit of this, he discovers, they talk about the fact about what had happened to the ancient dwarves of the realm below, and why the kingdom had never reached the surface, basically, why it just had stayed where it was. And it was because the ancient dwarves had been wiped out thousands of years ago by the Delkir, these creatures that I've already mentioned before. Why? Because Sol Udar was so deep and so magically infused that it literally interweaved with or abutted the demi-plane prison of one of the mightiest Delkir, whose name was Dern the Corruptor. The explorers down there found tools formed from flesh and bone, and then discovered the creatures that made them. While the five nations were fighting the last war, the Maror fell into Dol Udar, which is called the War Below, which I've already talked about before. Now, once the last war ended, the War Below essentially came into somewhat of a stalemate, where the Delkir were basically sealed within great doors of stone, metallurgically and magically infused, and the dwarves remained on the other side of it. So that the realm below is still a glorious possibility of treasure, of incredible invention, and so forth, but also an incredibly dangerous threat, because presumably it is right near a place where the Delkir would love nothing more than to get out and escape and start causing problems again. Spinweave knows something of this conflict, allegedly, and certainly knows about the things that would have interested, let's say, the Emerald Claw. But maybe this is starting to make a little more sense as he describes things to you, why the Emerald Claw might be interested in finding something that was involved with this great yet foreign weapons of war, right, and combat and things like that. Perhaps that explains a little bit about why they're interested in finding more of it now. But in any case, that is basically what he knows, that Spinweave knows about this place and presumably at some point lived near where this battle, the War Below, this war had taken place.
All right. Good night, everybody.
So that
Sorry,
happened.
distracted by a dog-sized raccoon that just wandered through my backyard and set off my alarms.
Oh, no.
Aw! Awesome.
Big.
Yeah, big raccoon.
Again, awesome. That's fantastic. I love raccoons. They're my favorite animals. Little trash pandas. Can I make this bigger? Oh, there it is.
So if we wanted to go and find out about this last foray to meet Spinweaver, we need to go to the tavern to find members of this clan, or this guy.
It would be the first place that I would go look anyway. Rolforor, like I say, was always a great spinner of tales, but of course there's no guarantee. It's been a century. Not long as we tell it, but for others, perhaps much longer. But I haven't heard hide nor hair of him except to say that is seen hide nor hair of him except to say that's where he would spend his time.
Well, are there any messengers in this area where we could just simply send a message to the clan and request a meeting with them?
There are, but I'd be careful. If you wanted me to make sure that we weren't going to be listened in on, any messages you give to anyone else, those messages have a way of being passed on to those besides just the ones I send it to. Yep, go ahead, yeah.
Remember, Trezul is sending agents here to find out what we're trying to find out as well. They may already be here.
Also a good point of, how did you know we were coming?
Well, there was, let's say, back-channel messages sent from those who know of your journey here.
And he kind of sort of kind of pauses and says, House Fjarlin let me know. They wanted to make sure that you'd be okay when they were here, and they asked to make sure that when you arrived it was kept quiet. The arrival sometimes of people coming, even a small group, when they're not dwarven or at least not known to the people here, can raise questions. And so I was asked to make sure that your entrance be limited in its effect.
That's interesting. We have no dealings with House Fjarland.
And he says,
Do we?
so he says, not, yeah, I was gonna say he says nothing and just,
Rowan just coughs.
It's dry in here. I hand Soul Ring the letter again. I have questions about this whole thing with the barrier, the symbionts, everything that Trezul mentions in it. Like, do you know what he's referring to here?
And he looks over the letter, and let me see. Actually, I'll pull up that letter for chat to see. Let me see. Give me that letter. All right. So we already know about this, right? He looks at.
You may want to take Soul Ring's face off
Oh,
in the
sorry.
middle of it because it's kind of blocking it. Yeah.
He covers it and is just sort of like.
It's not meant for mortal eyes.
He's holding it in front of his face.
Give me just a second. Okay.
Oh my God.
So, all right. So, he looks and kind of reads it over, and he says, "Dolor, the realm of the dead," and he says to reach the symbionts, and he kind of blinks as he's looking it over. Now, before I mentioned that he was feeling. He was grim, right? This is not grimness. This is sort of.
No, that's Ronald McDonald's friend.
Jeez. This is actually more. He kind of looks up at you and symbionts, and he looks at Tanton and he says, "Well, you know what those are. These are." The sentient organic things. They're designed to attach themselves to hosts and be useful. Weapons, tools, armor. But they were created by the cursed Delkir. Originally, they were living organisms, things taken from other planes and worlds and brought here. They became symbols, gifts to worshippers of the Delkir. Sometimes it was said you could use symbiotes against the Delkir themselves, but this was dangerous territory. Symbionts were as likely to, if you were not one of the Delkir, control you as it was to be controlled by others. They're right to talk about this idea of tearing apart the boundaries between planes, but if they're really trying to do this, he points at it again, it means that he's trying to get to these weapons. You can't let the Ermund Claw have symbiotic weapons. It would change the balance of power everywhere, especially in a group like them. Just one of those weapons could not just destabilize the political world, they could break the seals that keep the Delkir on their side. If you want the war below to stay just that, you can't let them have this. And if they decide to bring it onto the surface, it'll make the last war look like a battle in a child's playpen.
Well, it seems we hold the key to bypassing this barrier.
Possibly.
Or tap the plaque. And as admitted in the letter, he does not know what it means or how to utilize it, it would seem.
No, and I doubt anyone would have that knowledge either, because it comes from a history and a time that we've tried to forget. But Spinweave knows. And now it makes sense to me as to why Spinweave is the one being sought out.
Spinweave might have been there when it happened.
I guess we better go to the Stone Golem Inn, or Tavern, whatever. Tavern. Yeah.
Are you sure you want to deal with this one?
Who is going to do it? Who? Out of...
And it's not like we have a choice.
Are you going to take up arms and go after Spinweave?
And he shakes his head and says, "No. I am attempting to find what I can to break down the creation I should never have made. But Spinweave," and he just shakes his head, "the one thing I'll tell you, the dwarves of the Maror Holes, I've told you many times, are great spinners of tales. But Spinweave is a great teller of tales for their own purposes. They'll spin webs of deceit, and if you're not careful, what you think you're agreeing to will be something used to trap you later. No one has more knowledge than Spinweave, and no one knows they have that knowledge more than Spinweave themselves."
I look at Rowan like, oh. I look at
Luciana looks at Rowan and notices that Rowan is becoming exponentially more annoyed this entire conversation. And then he goes, "Respectfully, while I value that you, of course, know a great deal more than we do, I find it very frustrating that you can't give us anything that we can actually use. Just a lot of things to be afraid of."
And he nods and he says,
"That's fair. I've tried to give you some information, but perhaps it just seems like I'm offering more questions. But I'll give you one thing you can work with, Rowan, for sure. You remember that when you came to rescue us from the fortress of Ironcrag, that you found elementals there that were bound to service, yes?"
I remember this.
The elementals that were bound there, they were creatures that, depending on who you speak to, might or might not have known that they were bound. Might or might not be sentient, you might say. Well, the one thing that Spinweave has never been able to deal with in all the tales I've ever heard is about creatures that understand the worth of their own freedom. By that I mean, if you're willing to pay a sacrifice, in a way, you make what Spinweave is asking less potent and powerful. You take away their leverage. You can outwit Spinweave, is what I'm saying, if you go in with the right feelings about it. Now, it may not be helpful to you enough except to say that the dwarves couldn't stop from being changed by Spinweave. But perhaps all of you, not from the Maror Holds, can manipulate Spinweave yourself. Spinweave's arrogant, believes that their knowledge makes them more powerful than any weapon, any army, but not perhaps more powerful than people who know what they're about, like all of you.
A little more helpful, yes. Thank you for that.
and
What are you going to be up to while we're working?
Well, I've almost figured out a way, I think, to triangulate locations. I'm trying to figure out a way to use the Oracle of War to basically triangulate where the Oracle of Bones might be. Find that, and perhaps we find the Lord of Blades. At least, that's what the people tell me while they're gathering their armies together. I've been working on it for a while, and I think I'm making some progress.
I turn to Tanton. Mia Tanton, can you humor me on a very stupid idea? Our good friend here was earlier discussing the possibility that two oracles in proximity could potentially cancel each other out.
Or make each other stronger.
Since said colleague is already going out of his way to try to track the Oracle of Bones in the first place, is there a means by which we would be able to observe whether they're reacting to each other at distance? And therefore be able to confirm whether that reaction is a good one or a bad one?
One of the first problems that I see with this particular thing is that you're trying to do a triangulation with a single point of reference.
True.
So this would mean that you would have to take the Oracle of War to 3 separate locations, and then take your measurements from there and do a comparative. Never mind.
Or we could find something else that is oracular. What would that be? I turn very obviously and viscerally to Solring. You made the thing. Obviously, you can determine a thing that is of its quality for the purposes of triangulation.
He nods and he says, well, that, actually, has been what I've been doing. And he rises and goes over to his, what looks like a small workbench, basically, on one side of the room. And he picks up and brings over to you something.
Is it something the size of an oracle?
No. It is not
Oh
the
my
size
God.
of the oracle. It's the oracle of guess what? No.
But it is the size of a bread box.
But it is not that. It is a basically the size of a fist model of what looks like an oracle. It's not, however, clearly it doesn't seem to like open or anything like that. And he says, I've been assembling this. There's a principle here. Magical resonance, they call it. Make something which is of the same parts and size, shape, or not size, but shape of the other thing, and you can sometimes create resonance between them. My hope is that if I do this using some of the same principles I did originally, that we might find something which can resonate as an item. But this doesn't have any of the control mechanisms or any of the moving parts, you might say, as the other. It's a simulacrum, basically. And if I'm able to use it, then this will be the item that will end up being the triangulating device. That's what's taken me the time that it has. And you have to say, Rowan, that as you're looking at it, it looks like a pretty exquisitely detailed model, albeit without the sort of moving parts, as he said. But it is an exquisitely detailed model of something which looks a lot like the Oracle of War.
Is it metal or reflective at all?
I'm sorry, say again?
Is it metal or reflective at all?
It is metal, yeah, for sure.
Because Nisiana, like, with enough polish, that could be used as a scrying device.
And this doesn't have to do all the oracle-y stuff. It just has to be a representation.
Right, but...
Well, that was more for Rowan.
Oh. It's just something that I've learned that I know I can do, and I've not used it. But if we're looking...
That you can...
Scrying is something I can do.
I have some rouge in my... some polishing rouge in my true crafters kit.
Okay, this might make a whole lot of future jobs tremendously easier then. How close do you think your scrying can get to the Oracle of Bones?
Hold that thought. Well, and by the way, I'm looking at the object like metal because the object I need to scry has to be at least 1,000 GP. So-
yeah, I mean, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Definitely covered with this. Oh, I should mention, by the way, that everyone is having this conversation, just so you know, excuse me, openly, because your mind link is not working for the reasons I described previously. I'm just letting you know that if there's something you don't want, that piece of garbage Soul Ring or something, I can't imagine you'd say that, but, anything you don't want him to know, make sure you're not speaking about it openly, because the mind link is not operative at the moment.
And Mirime just looks kind of like annoyed by everything on the sideline and with her arms crossed and just kind of looking for an excuse to stab.
It just has to be on the same plane of existence.
Okay.
But if the target, it is contested. It is a wisdom. It is, if I'm trying to scry on a creature, there is ability for them to stop. And since I don't want to actually read this whole thing out to you guys, I'm just going to put it into the thing because it is really long. It's like I can scry, and I have seen the
Oracle of Bones?
No, the Lord of Blades.
Oh, sure.
But I know Rowan has seen. Have you seen the Oracle? Didn't you do a scrying or something where you almost saw?
Yes, I have seen the Oracle of Bones. What was happening when I saw the Oracle of Bones again? We were in.
I don't remember
we were the Grey when that happened, weren't we?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember under what circumstances, but yes, that's right.
I remember it was very hostile circumstances.
I mean, we saw the Lord of Blades on the Argot?
Yeah, I saw it when they were carrying it. I was scouting at the time, so I've actually seen the Oracle of Bones.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah, so there's the thing is, it's like, so there's a certain familiarity, and then it's like, do we want to find the Lord of Blades, failed throws and invisible sensors and 10 minutes of concentration, and it's a long shot, but if we need a triangulation thing and we have the Oracle, and I think for the Oracle of a secondary thing that can be used as a scrying device, it's a thing it's a possibility. But and then Nisiana just sort of stops talking, and she's like, I think, I don't know. It's just a thought. There are things that...
This is better than the alternative. And if we can cross this off of Soul Ring's list, then Soul Ring can be of use to us.
I look at the old dwarf. Or his...
Soul Ring nods and he says, well, it might be of some value, but to help. But I will say that both of the objects were designed, at least initially, to resist scrying. And what's made worse is that they're now in the Grey, or at least one of them is, not the Oracle of War, but the Oracle of Bones, which means you might find it, or you might find something which is a echo, a faint image of what was there before. It's the reason I've had to be building this in the way that I am. The closer I can get it to the way these things look, the more likely it's going to work. And there's some work that still needs to be done to make it that way. But it may be that when the time comes, your scrying might help, and I'd appreciate it. Right now, though, I don't think you'd get anywhere, at least not before I've got some more work done on this thing.
Hampton reaches into his bag and has to fumble down pretty deep, but he finally does pull out one of the little remotes that way back when the guys were carrying that said, and he's like, if they resist scrying, then why do these work?
And he nods and he says, yes, I think it's because those things in some way were infused with items or material from the Oracle itself. And, at least initially, I was, well, you remember that the Oracle of Bones wasn't something that I wanted to build. I was being forced to do it. And I tried to do something that would build in a bit of a failsafe. There wasn't as much as I wanted to be able to do to make that possible, but I left open a
a back door, if you will, an opening to be able to, if possible, get through the protection against scrying. As far as I know, that's what those were designed to be able to do as well. But my way means I can do it even if the other person's actively trying to stop it now. Not just the Oracle's own protections, but more magic being used on top of it.
I've known people who have a child, and then at some point they wind up accidentally having another one. And it's not that the first child isn't wanted, or the second child isn't wanted or unappreciated, but it is still kin to the first one. Now, is it not possible that even if the Oracle of War and the Oracle of Bones may not necessarily be the same entity, made of the same things, you are still their father?
He sort of nods slowly as if processing that and then says,
I suppose, yes.
Did that thing find the Oracle of Bones?
No. Sol Ring, do you think that this could be modified to find the Oracle of Bones?
And he reaches out for it, if you'll give it to him. And
he's got 3 of them.
And he looks at them. He looks at it, and then he says,
Where did you say you found these?
Sorry, asked you that as you were like, what refer?
No, Nisiana just actually does laugh, kind of this bitter laugh. Found, yes. 3rd protocol activated.
Oh, and he nods. He says, "Oh, yes, I heard all about that. Not something
found them in the hands of dead people.
They came for it and salvation. We stopped them."
And he nods sorrowfully, and he says,
My continued shame, this thing.
and he looks at the remote, and he says,
I think it's possible, yes. I'll need some time to modify it, though, but yes, it's possible that it'll act essentially as an amplifier, almost boosting the signal, if you will, of what this is intended to do. And he points at the, exquisite model that he's been making. And he says, if you'll allow me to be able to use it, I might be able to help it amplify the quality of this.
Would you like the other 2 as well?
And he nods. I would. He seems like very like
digs them out of his pack and hands them
his
over.
kind of grimness has gone away, and now it's very much like his grimness has gone away, and now he's very much in the sort of the excited look of a, hey, this could actually do something.
There's actually could be hope here. Hang on.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a resource that we didn't know we had.
Exactly. Yeah, so he now has the remotes and is sort of like, all right then. Well, it's not like please leave, but he's kind of like, all right then.
Very
like
much
you
like
can
what
see,
Canton would be doing.
Yeah. He's like, all right then. Here's your hat. What's your hurry? No.
Well, we do have another mission to accomplish here while we're waiting. So
we have a tavern to go carouse in and see if we can find a dude.
Find a dude.
I'm sorry, my brain is not working on all cylinders right now, so names and stuff are not sticking.
That dwarven name was not easy anyways.
Are you talking about
Rolforor?
Yes, the unforgettable Rolforor.
Rolforor? All I can think of is Rufus.
I'm saving it. I'm saving his name in my head as Wolf Era.
Wolf Era.
Rolforor Initiativist. Yes, exactly.
Well done.
Rolforor.
I'm just hearing roar for roar.
Of course you are.
No.
It's like, do dwarves name themselves by literally eating gravel?
Welcome to like
and spitting it out.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
History wand.
So
off to the Stone Golem Tavern.
And I will mention that when you go to the Stone Golem Tavern, and I think I've got some A little bit of a sound effect from that tavern thing going on there. Let's see if I do. Let's stop that.
You haven't been involved in a bar brawl yet, so what's
that.
stopping you?
Let's make sure I've got that.
I really want to be in a bar brawl.
Okay.
You'll just get the wings out and everyone's going to stop, so I'm not too worried about it. You have several ways of nipping that right in the bud.
So you walk into the warmth of the tavern. It is chilly outside, I should have mentioned, but it is quite warm inside the tavern.
Meh.
And when you arrive, you see a room that is absolutely packed with dwarves of all types and descriptions that are, many of them carrying these horns of mead, or apparently you think mead, horns of something, ale, some kind of drink, presumably. And as you walk in, one of them up front, an older dwarf with snow white hair and beard, is telling a tale. And he is going on and on about the war below and the battle that was fought by his own clan. He says, "Tol Kalan, Doldoran soldiers have always been among the best and bravest of the Maror holds." And you hear a bunch of people being like, Doldoran, and a couple of people, Doldoran, you know. And their daring and dedication to not just hold the line, but to win the war is what make the lives we all enjoy today possible. If you look around and enjoy your ale and your food and breathe in the air around you, you should thank someone from the Doldoran clan. And you're like, hey! And then some people being like, grumble. But you get the impression that this is kind of a well-rehearsed sort of, like, this has happened before, right? And he sits down, a couple of his fellows clap him on the back. And as you find a table to sit at, with a couple of people looking over your way, because you as a group seem not the usual sort of standard, especially, I think, Alarian kind of like floating slightly above, you know.
Yeah, all 7 feet tall of me. I probably barely fit under the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. And so
I don't know how Gandalf felt.
As they sit down, as they sit down, another person comes forward, and stands up, and this person is one with sort of salt and pepper beard and hair, a female dwarf, and she stands in front of the assembled population and starts. And every time you notice, each of these stories begins Tol Kalan. Now, I have a question. Does anyone speak Dwarvish by chance?
I'm pretty sure that means, hey, listen!
No,
listen!
It means no shit. There I was.
So
I'm probably
anyways...
wondering how I got here.
Yeah, exactly.
I do not.
Smash cut. And that's how...
Common Draconic Gnomish.
Okay. Right, I think we had this discussion before, and I think it was like Gnomish was as close as we got. Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't know what exactly that means. You just know that they always say it at the beginning. And whenever they say it, people are sort of like, they're like very raucous, you know, lots of people talking. Every time Tol Kalan starts, everyone's like, and it all sort of dies down a little bit. And the salt and pepper haired dwarf, she says, "Tol Kalan, I tell a story of Clan Moranin." And there's a few people around, and a couple of like, goddamn Clan Moranin, you know, like, you get the impression this is sort of like people talking about the New York Yankees, like, oh yeah, that's great, yeah. And says the not Yankee fan. Anyway, and he says, oh, you know, let's remember that while Clan Moran was building the walls of this tavern, while Clan Doldoran was fighting their wars, let's talk about the places that were being built for the soldiers to come back to. And some people are like, oh yeah, let's remember what Clan Moranin provided them. We are both stout warriors and shrewd negotiators, am I right? And some people are like, and someone says, you can negotiate your way to some free alcohol. And you get a couple of like laughs from the back. And she says, that's right, my friend. Because they're more interested in giving alcohol to someone who doesn't already come in half drunk. And she stares at the person, and you get this sort of like, oh, as if she's landed a blow on the other one. And she says, the greatest virtue of the Moranin people is our leadership. It was Moranin himself who rallied the exiles to establish the Maror holds, and it's our people today who have the deepest investments in the realm below. And people are like, that's right. And some others like, blow it out your ear, right? So there's, again, discussion. Merime, I would like for you to make a performance check for me. There's a reason I'm asking this, as we'll see.
Okay.
Going to critique it.
Roll 20 does not like me, unfortunately. I do not currently have access to anything.
Oh.
It keeps kicking me out. It does not believe I am a person.
Oh.
So if
You are Canadian, so you know.
I feel...
Damn.
I was going to say Kalashtar, but...
I feel I'm a
That is
person.
weird. That's
What is
very
your bonus?
odd.
What is your bonus to your thing? One of us can roll for you and just add.
Plus 12. I'm not sure that's actually it, but it's plus 9 or something. It's pretty
I mean,
high.
it's got to be
I
pretty
believe
high.
it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Diversity bonus, charisma of 20, probably.
So 16 plus whatever.
So 12, so 28.
I got 50,000. Thank you.
50,000. So you notice, Merime, that as this performance is going on, you notice that each of these people who come up to speak are quite gifted at it. Now, you know that the Maror dwarves, like, as I said, hold rhetoric and tale-telling in great esteem, but you also get the impression that this is, like, well-rehearsed to have an effect. It's almost like half a tale, half a debate, basically, that they're having. And you notice as well that there's almost this sense that people are judging each tale. That as it's being said, people are like, I mentioned that like the clans are like, yay or no or whatever. But in general, there's this sort of sense whether something landed. Like the Doldoran guy, people seem to like it. You got the feeling that a lot more people sort of appreciated what the Clan Moranin person was saying. And so that comes to your mind as a person stands up. This one with just a wisp of a beard, looks quite young, actually, of dark hair, dark beard. And a couple of people are like, go on, you can do it. Let's go, Clan Soldarak. And a couple of people are like high-fiving each other. And it says, someone else says, the best you could do, now you have to raid the nursery for your tale tellers. And everyone's like clapping and high-fiving.
It's not that high. They're dwarves. It's kind of a mid-5.
And they look at you in horror because you've made it. No, I'm just kidding. He says, Tol Cullen, the old ways have their value, but we mustn't be too rigid. For in adaptation lies the path forward. This does not go over well. Some people are like, you know. And he says, Soldarak challenged Lord Mror for the good of the common folk. Now it gets very quiet. And you sense that, like, the sort of good-hearted banter, now people are, like, leaning in, and there's a little tension in the room, you think.
Hey, we're getting into the bitch?
Yeah. It's like, what did you say? Right. For the good of the common folk when his rule grew oppressive. And Soldarak dwarves have pioneered the use of Dolor, symbiont magic, to turn the weapons of our enemies below against them. We're all better for it. Dead silence. And finally, one person, one dwarf stands and says, an older dwarf, maybe even a little unsteady on his feet, and says, the problem with all of you from Clan Soldarak is you don't remember what it costs to do these little expeditions of yours. The weapons of our enemies were in the bodies of my ancestors. You might remember that in between the time that you spent learning to be potty trained and telling tales here. And there's kind of a kind of unpleasant growling, and the young dwarf looks fairly unrepentant about all this, and says, oh, so we're just going to sit here and take what you say as valid? The rest of you with your clans that never got anything done for us? Again, gets a little uglier. And then he says, perhaps the time's come for us to think about these new ways that might involve others, like them, for example. And he points at your table.
And the spotlight goes to us.
Basically. And he says, here are people from elsewhere outside the city. Perhaps they could tell a tale and let you know why it is that the old stories are just that, old. And the entire tavern is all like, they all like swivel to look at you, and are staring at your table.
But their chairs don't swivel, so it's just.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They look at you, which is a good place to take our break. You are watching the incredible Infinity and Beyond crew. Will be going until 11 o'clock tonight. I'm going to try to stop us at 10:50. So if you like what you have seen and heard so far, please make sure to follow and support all of these wonderful people, and continue to check out our previous videos, as well as the Infinity and Beyond crew of Trent Sparks and Marie Bilodeau and John Helfers and Jennifer Brozick and Brandon O'Brien regale you with role play of all types and descriptions. It's 9:43 Eastern, so let's aim to be back here about 7 minutes if we can. 9:50, and chat, you can see whether this group will be ready for the tale telling they're being asked to do. What will happen? Who knows? But we'll find out together in just a little bit. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll be right back. Hold tight. Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Infinity and Beyond, day 67 of D&D, as we continue to play From Dust. And when we last left our heroes just a few seconds ago, or a few minutes ago, I should say, they had just been stared at by a group of people waiting to hear what was going to happen next. And in fact, if I go over to the map here, I have a picture for you all, which you will be able to find on the Twitch post here, or the Twitch stream rather, coming right now. Way too large. 1 second while I address that.
Wow.
There we go. Sorry.
Whoop.
There we go. So you can see the inside of this warm tavern and some of the dwarves holding forth. And I should remove Soul Ring at the moment because Soul Ring is not actually there. So yes, so this is where you are all. And the young dwarf has just basically looked in the direction of the party, and everyone is waiting to see what you are going to do. So I'll hand things back over to the party and ask, that's a good question. What are you going to do?
So they basically set it up with like these strangers. How do they judge our stories, basically?
You get the impression they're waiting for you to tell a tale.
Okay. I will stand unless I glance at my group. I never assume, and then I will stand.
Tantan stands up. No, I will do this.
Tantan,
I
good.
guidance her with Eberron's got you.
Okay.
So that's a D4.
Alrighty.
Okay. History.
And I'm gonna bend luck for you as well. So that's
thank you.
Okay.
D4.
I don't have to do anything. I'll just stand there like in quiet contemplation for a while, and then bam!
I like stories, and then wow, it's great.
Just glowing.
Yeah.
Win them all. Okay, I will take a moment I'm trying to see if Roll20 will work. But anyways, my performance check is a D10. Plus 10, just so you know, I checked. In case it dies again on me.
Gotcha. What's the tale that you're telling, though, Mermaid?
I'm going to first stand there for a moment and kind of do a glance around the room, cast my storyteller's net.
Okay.
My bard net on them. And then I'm going to start with just kind of picking up on what they laid down, I'm going to start with history is story, and your words, the ink. And then from there, I'm going to start telling just this gentle tale of, oh shit, I had the name a second ago, Grunda and her daughter. And of, I'm going to go into the morning and show them the fear and fright of the morning and the unknown of sorrow and grief. And then I'm going to pull them back into the story of a mother and a daughter. And history is a story, yes, and who tells that story is important, but who we tell it about and the people who come together and who make a difference. I say it way better than that at the time, but I bring it down to way better than that. I should have had coffee, damn it. But the stories we tell impact the history we remember, and about the people, and not just the houses, but those within it, the souls who make a difference. And then I sound like that's where I go from. That's a tell I choose to tell.
Okay, so what I'm going to with feeling, of course. I'm going to ask for a performance check. You're going to have the benefit of the guidance. Presumably, Rowan may also try to bend luck. I will point out that it is a new month and, in fact, a new year, and so inspirations have been reset. If anyone from the assembled chat would like to inspire Merime to ever greater heights, you could also do that if you wish. If anyone has an inspiration available. So, that's funny. Laverne Marno. Hey, I'm not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. All right. Okay, anyone? Anyone? Yeah, there's your inspirations. We have a couple from, I don't think Classcore's here. Echo was here. Don't think Effect Life's here. I don't know if Prince Justin's around. Shadowed Mage was here before. Not sure about Nonstop. There's this Trending guy around, but Trend may also choose to hold on to
Guy's a prick.
She didn't tell a story about no, I wouldn't do that. Not with you there.
All right, well then, so you're going to make the check.
Any inspirations still available for sale?
There are channel point inspirations. There's 2 available, yes.
Right,
Okay.
I'm going to buy one.
Okay.
Okay, because I could buy one too.
What
That's
does that mean?
I've just been sitting on channel points.
So twice a month there are, if you use channel points, which are expensive, but if you use channel point expensive. If you use channel points, you can get inspiration. You get 2 of those per month. So Rising Tides has used one, and you're allowed, as you know, to use inspirations as long as it's not on yourself. So,
thank you.
All right. So Rowan, you can't. Brandon, I should say, in this case, is the one doing it. So Brandon can inspire Merime then.
Thank you.
I will.
All right.
I didn't think that you'd want me to tell the whole tale in person, but I do have a little song that I can share with you another time.
Ooh. You're sure?
Yes.
I mean, I could stop the music. I mean,
No, I don't remember the tune to it because I can't write music. But
okay, fair enough.
yeah, but it has go, so you may return, like her.
Okay.
Her tattoo, and she does sing in it. Just imagine it.
Yeah,
here.
no, I am definitely imagining. All right, so let's see that performance check. We're doing that at advantage, and you're going to get the guidance thing. Now, you remember, you only get the guidance. You could do an advantage, take the higher one, and then do the guidance stuff and all that after that. So
I want to do really well.
Okay.
Like, Mirivi's been having a rough day. She couldn't communicate telepathically. She's not been sleeping well. She's feeling a bit grouchy,
And I should say, by the way, the mind link now is restored once you left that anti-scrying area.
That's good.
Well, I see. We have not 1 but 2 not natural 20s.
Hang on, I'm gonna roll the d4 too because.
And then
Because why not?
Yeah. Okay, so 23.
23.
did you inspire yourself?
I can't. Can I?
No, you can't bardically inspire yourself.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just naturally inspired by being me.
Okay. Well, that, you should know, is being compared to the other ones, and so the other ones that already spoke.
Wait a minute.
So, yes.
Flash of genius. Add 5 to that.
Oh, 26.
Okay.
28.
28. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right.
Brandon,
so
you are.
I just forgot I'm supposed to roll my bend luck for you, so hold on.
Thank you. You are inspiring me with your friendship.
Oh, like flash of genius, bend luck, do. 4. All right. So,
Wow,
what are
thank
we up
you.
to now? So
32.
32. All right. Well,
Yeah, just 32.
it's an
And
opposed.
the cult of Merime was launched this evening.
It's probably pretty clear. We were all, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Supporting her.
losing to the 45. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck.
Unbelievable. No. So
Flip
they come. So there's a great roar after your tale is finished, and a lot of applause. People come over and clap you on the back, Mermaid. There are a bunch of people like passing drinks in your direction, and
Much better drinks than those in Salvation.
yeah. I mean, listen. The last dwarf, the Saranic dwarf, sort of looks at you, kind of nods in your direction. There's a bit of mixed sort of respect and annoyance at having lost, maybe, possibly. I would like all of you to mark off a legacy event called Tavern Tail Spinner. And when we get to the end of this adventure, I will tell you what that means. But the other thing is that one person comes over to you, the older dwarf, the oldest, the dwarf who was like, you don't understand, like that guy that was speaking, comes over to you, Merime, and says, it's good that someone understands the importance of being serious when it comes to telling tales. And he pulls from his belt this vial, which he passes over to you. And he says, I wish you would take this. I don't know where your travels will lead you, but anyone who understands, as you seem to, what the stakes are, knows that they should in some way have value here. And hands you this item. This thing that he's handing you, which you won't have to identify because you describe it, is an elixir of health. Now, an elixir of health, what that does is, an elixir of health cures any disease that is afflicting you and removes the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, and poisoned conditions. It basically will heal just about anything except death. But it will heal any kind of previous condition. There is only enough in this vial for 1 dose, but elixirs of health are quite powerful.
Ooh, I will. Thank you, kind friend. I quite enjoyed your telling as well, and appreciate this gift.
Well, it's about time, as I say. At least somebody understands. And then you were interrupted because the door slams open to the tavern, and a chilling draft goes through the room and quiets the assembly. Standing in the doorway is a dwarf in a dark gray cloak, and his face is obscured by shadow. And he walks over slowly to the hearth. Yes, Tanton?
Say the second that door slams open, Tanton is like
Yeah.
at the door.
Yeah, no. He doesn't, nobody, it's a dwarf. He doesn't seem to attack, and he sort of waits, actually, probably looks in your direction, Tanton, looks at the crossbow, and then turns his attention back to the rest of the room and says, "Tol Colin," and he strides into the room. "We of Clan Soldarak fear not the depths, for we've harnessed their magic for our own. And my tale is of an expedition deep into Sol Udar. I sought the counsel of Spinweave, that we might continue to learn and turn the tools of the enemy against them. We sought and we fought and we fell one and all, and our clan banner was lost down there in her lair. Only I, Rolforor Soldarak, returned to tell this tale of woe." The dwarf takes an empty stool at the bar, and after a few hushed moments, the crowd slowly returns to conversing.
Well, that's convenient.
Particularly
Yeah,
Tanton, if you do that Aragorn thing from the Fellowship where the crossbow just slowly lowers. I don't know if it does, but regardless, that's what the crowd does.
Did he close the door after making that entrance? Or is he just
It
left
swung
open?
shut behind him.
Okay, good.
So it was like, and then
I think he would have mage handed it anyways. So,
something. I mean, Tanton would have put a bolt in his chair and been like, "Close the door, asshole."
Listen, you jackass.
But it doesn't, you're born in a cavern. Anyway.
All right. Who's approaching him first? Or do we do it as a group?
I mean, I think we might be in.
He will.
I think all of us going over there might be a little bit
Bit much, eh?
cumbersome.
There's
Yeah,
attention.
we just had a moment, and then we all descend on another.
you all rise as one.
Just the sound of legs, both flesh, metal, and whatever.
Clang,
And
clang,
hovering.
My
clang.
legs make no noise, sir. as I
Spanner
float
has
everywhere.
metal legs.
That's true. That's right. Send Spanner over. Come here, lassie.
What's that? Little Johnny is stuck in the Dalkir ruins?
Spanner walks over there with a message in his mouth, and when he opens it, just tattered paper flies out because he didn't turn off his grinders. Anyway.
So he makes this giant announcement and then sits down and doesn't tell a tale.
He's sitting down at the end of the bar.
I kind of was his tail. So
I can go ask him more details about the story.
short and to the point.
Yeah, and through the mind link, Tanton's like, "Well, that's convenient that he shows up while we're here."
I was just thinking that.
It is, isn't it?
So
I'll
was
give-
I.
So in the mind link, I ask, who would we prefer to have this conversation? The performer or the charlatan?
I'm good with either of them.
Well, we need information, and you can tell if he's full of bullshit.
I can just imagine
I've got
the
good
two of
insight
them
too.
going over on either side. And it's
Yeah.
like when Professor X and Magneto go
Yeah, yeah.
either side of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Or good cop, bad cop, basically. Like,
Right.
this is great. Ron's like, no, it's not.
We can both go if you'd like.
I would love to see
Works for
that.
me.
All right.
I would too, actually.
All right, so as I understand
I-
it, Tantanalari and Nisiana are waiting at the table. Rowan, you and Marime are going over, it sounds like.
Yes, I go to the bar first
Okay.
and buy 2 tankards of whatever is strongest here.
Okay. And you don't have to pay. The bartender was just as impressed as everyone else was, so they hand over. Now, I do have to warn you, Rowan, when you say the strongest thing, I would like everyone to remember what it's like when you go to, it's like going to, a particular, let's say going to Colombia and saying, can you give me the spiciest food? Like, do you really want that?
Yeah.
Because, anyway, but they hand you over.
This is Oktoberfest for people whose center of gravity is lower than mine.
Exactly. So they hand you more of that than a mug. But anyway, and foaming, and push it over to you.
I take both of them and I bring them over to this dwarf's table.
Row.
Roll furore, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
that's right.
Okay. And then Marime, you're like going on the other side, or?
Yeah, I'll
Mhm.
go.
I will sit on the left.
The sinister side.
Okay.
I will sit on the right.
Okay, so
And,
you all have him flanked. I just want that to be clear. All right.
But
And
in
I
a friendly
slide one of-
way.
And I slide one of the drinks over to him and go, a hell of a tale you didn't finish telling there.
You think it's not, and he looks over at you and he says, I wish that it were. If it were finished, I wouldn't have to keep returning, hoping someone would take me up on its ending. But as long as there's no clan banner, there can't be an ending for me or my clan.
We got an offer for you, pal.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that you may require to see this story to an end?
And he sort of looks at you. He says, well, he says, I appreciate the offer to talk to me about it, but, well, you don't look dwarvish to me. Are you from the Maror Holds?
I'm new here, but suffice it to say I have quite an investment in the Moorholds that I think would still be of value.
He nods slowly and he says, well, it might be of value and I'd be grateful to you. I might be able to give you a reward even, but... And he shakes his head. Perhaps I don't know that I'd want to give it to anyone who's not a dwarf because I don't know they'd understand why this matters so much. To the outside world, it probably seems silly.
Suffice it to say, we've heard a great deal of the value of this place and the things beneath it from one of our good colleagues. You may be aware of Solring Moranin?
And he nods slowly. I knew Solring a long time ago. A good man. And very intelligent. But even Solring wouldn't have been able to make something to protect us from what we found down in that cursed place.
Well, maybe if you haven't found what you need here to end this tale, then perhaps outsiders coming to help you are precisely what you need.
And this time he looks over. I guess I should actually, I should actually be looking left to begin with because that's where Rowan was, and then back to my right. So he looks over at you, Marime, and he says, "Well, I'll tell you what I know, and no harm done if you choose not to help after you hear it. Some time ago, myself and my clan sought out this sage I mentioned, Spinweave, a renegade spider monster with connections to the Delkir that we fought cursed ages ago. The Spinweave knows everything, sage, oracle. We knew it was dangerous, but we needed information to help in our own war. I don't remember all that much about Spinweave's lair. It was a place of unearthly madness. But when we got down to the place, the foundations of this knowledge, Spinweave taught us about the weapons of the Delkir, all right, but did nothing to defend us when a creature of shadow tore us apart. I was the only one to escape alive.
My clan banner was lost in the dark, along with my brethren. It's a cursed memory.
Sounds less like Spinweave is a trustworthy oracle and more like a hungry beast, if that's what you're telling us.
And he kind of looks back over to you and said, "Perhaps we were the ones who were too greedy. We asked for knowledge we weren't meant to have, maybe. I've thought since then many times about what I could have done differently, and, well, all I know is that I'm a failure. The more so because I survived instead of dying with my people down there as I should have. But Spinweave had knowledge, just not enough. Look, I understand you say that you'd be willing to help, but I don't know if you know what you're getting into. It's dark down there, dangerous. Your mind itself gets clouded. I don't know. I don't know if it's something you'd want to commit to if you knew what was there."
You're muted, Marie.
I take my arm off. And I go, we've seen much worse.
Mhm.
And he kind of looks at it and he goes, The physical body's one thing, friend. But it's very different to be able to take away a part of your soul and recover from it. There is no prosthetic for something like that."
Fair enough.
We've seen a lot and fought a lot and are still standing, partly because we stand together. We would like the chance to help you reclaim your clan banner and find the ending to your story.
He nods slowly and he says, "Well, if you're willing to do this, I could offer you, first of all, this map." And he pulls out of from inside his cloak a folded piece of paper, which he opens to reveal a crude map. He says, "We made this when we were down here. It's a map of Spinweave's lair, and it might help you a little bit in your navigation, though the rooms themselves seem to shift for us. Still, perhaps you'd have better luck than we would. In addition to that, I'd be willing to give you a good portion of gold, and perhaps even this magical belt." And he holds up, again from inside his cloak, this dangling belt, and says, "It might help you in the dark days ahead."
Does the belt resemble the belt of Dwarvenkind that I already have?
It does, Ron.
Are you belt BFFs now?
Belt FF, if you were.
Well, if he's willing, maybe we over the mind link, because I'm assuming you're kind of letting us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to take this conversation a little bit more private. And because he will need to be there. And we will need more specific information.
If he can provide it to us, will he need to come with us, or?
Well, wouldn't he? Why would he not? It's his family's banner.
It's true.
I can only imagine it would be a matter of pride that no one other than a dwarf touch it.
Exactly. And I
All
think
right.
it's a matter of what's the opposite of pride? What's the opposite of pride? Fuck.
Humility.
Humility. It would be a bad thing if he doesn't come. I've lost my words.
Okay.
I imagine shame was the word that we were looking for.
Yeah.
It would be a shame if he let us do this without him there.
All right. I will say out loud to him then, would you come with us then to reclaim your banner?
And he gives you, Merime, as he looks back to the right again, this look of deep horror, just haunted eyes. And he says,
Trigger warning.
I should. But the Sovereign help me, I can't face it. The darkness it's still in me now to this day.
And he just kind of trails off.
I disconnect from the others for a moment.
Okay.
And I just put a hand on his shoulder, wherever that is. And I reach inside of him with my mind and I say, the darkness may be in you, but so is your light.
Mara, may I have to stop you for a minute?
Yeah.
When you put your hand on his shoulder...
Oh, gee. Don't touch people.
You do not. It passes through him.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I'm like, oh. And is he aware of it, of what's just happened?
Doesn't seem to be.
He's a ghost?
Can I reach inside?
Does
of him?
anyone else in the tavern, is anyone
Yeah.
else in the tavern aware of the fact that just happened?
No, they're not paying attention to you.
Can I
I mean,
reach
you
his
may be
mind?
paying attention, but...
But hold on real quick. Everyone reacted when he came in,
Yes,
right?
yes,
They turned
yes.
to him, the door opened.
Yes.
Which didn't pass through.
Is everyone else like, yeah, okay. So can I reach his mind though?
Yes. Well, I don't know. But what are you trying to say to him?
I'm trying to like be encouraging from within and say like the darkness may still be inside of you, but so is your light. So is who you are. You are broken, but not destroyed. Breaks can be mended or accepted.
So he nods slowly.
good.
He seems to have understood that, and he says,
like going.
"Well, yeah. I mean, I assume
I'm
you're
not
not like,
doing that.
what's going
I'm
on?
not
Why
doing
can't
that.
I?"
I just gave a look to Rowan of like, holy shit. But then I focus. I pulled it back. Yeah.
He says, but out loud,
Well, it may be some value to some closure, I suppose. It's so hard to be the only one who survived.
I reopen the mind link and say, I don't know if you guys saw, but my hand went right through him. Is everybody here like a ghost or is he a ghost? What is happening? What happened to him? Does anybody know? And then I'm just kind of like holding his eyes like, yeah, we'll try to get you closure. If we may.
Is there anything I can do to detect if he's
Channel
actually...
divinity.
Oh, channel to divinity.
Blast him away.
No, she can detect undead.
Oh,
Fiend,
there you go.
fae,
Mhm.
that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, detect evil and good, which I can do at will. But pretty sure he's a ghost. That's, or a damn good illusion.
Yeah, okay, I will use channel to divinity to... What is it? Sense...
A fiend or undead.
Determine if he is the undead.
He is undead.
Oh.
He doesn't know. This goes over the line. He does not know he is dead. And it is convenient. I believe it was convenient that he arrived now because we were searching for him. We needed him.
His spirit is still trying to find peace. And not until his banner is returned and his people's story ended will he.
Exactly.
He doesn't need to be tortured with that. He will know when we bring it back.
Okay. Do we want to get a different person from his clan?
They're all dead.
Undead-y.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
One quick correction. There are some Clan Soldarak people, including the youngest dwarf who spoke to you,
Yeah.
but there's
But
nobody in his expedition, which was,
Right.
yeah, like they're all
No one-
gone.
they would
I
be
mean,
not
according to him
helpful.
anyway, they're all dead.
The map, though, he gave us a map. Is that...
He did
Can I
give,
take it?
he
Is
did,
it real?
the map is real, yes, you can feel
And
it,
the
touch
belt
it.
is real.
Yes. Well, he hasn't given you the belt, but it looks real, but the map definitely is real.
I guess I'll take the map and thank him and say thank you. We'll try to bring closure to your story and whatever assistance. Now he doesn't really need the belt, so I'm thinking somebody else might be able to need the belt.
Take the belt.
You know, whatever assistance you may provide
I do
us.
take it, but I will give it to somebody else.
He's going to give it to you if you complete the mission, to be clear.
That's fair.
So,
Oh.
same thing with the gold, which, by the way, is a substantial reward of gold, supposedly, but that also would be upon completion, so to speak. The map you get up front because
Ghost gold.
Yeah.
He's a ghost, you know. You might not be great at
Right,
banking.
it's like the
but-
Pirates of Caribbean gold that it disappears in the light or whatever. Yeah. Like,
Loses its luster.
Okay.
So while Merame is still speaking, I'm going to scan the rest of this tavern. You said that there are other clan members here.
at least
kid.
one that you know of, yeah, which was the young
Wispy
guy.
beard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy.
That I crushed.
Does he look like he is in adventuring shape? Does he look like he is fit for spelunking?
Hard to say because a lot of them look like they have the sort of ready clothing and uniforms and outfits of people who do a lot of work that might be underground, but it's hard to say if he's like, I mean, none of them look like they have your level of, a lot of them look hardy and tough and all that. None of them look like they have your level of expertise, or knowledge.
Do we need one of them with us, or
No, we don't.
Well,
I don't see why we would risk any of them if it's dangerous enough for these people already.
so
Fair
when,
enough.
We have a
when
map.
he came in, I mean, Tangent was looking, at the ghost,
Yeah.
looking at the door. So Tangent wouldn't have noticed, but since Rowan has the observant feed, would Rowan have noticed the kid reacting to this guy walking in?
The kid had probably, although Rona needed to tell me that he was using that. But having said that, I understand the observant part. No, the kid did not seem like, was not anything like that. The sort of reaction was sort of not in any great detail, I would say, Rowan, but just sort of was intrigued the same way that the others in the tavern might have been, at least temporarily, until everyone sort of settled down to something else.
Has he glanced at our table at any point since this ghost entered?
The young man? Probably, yes, but not in any way that would seem like it's out of the ordinary. I mean, just, sort of looking up in that direction, then looking back, but not anything in particular.
I get up and walk him.
Okay.
So you've been having a very interesting night, I presume?
And he looks up at you and, oh, well, your companion there had some interesting things to say. That was part of the reason I talked about it in that way. Some of these people need to remember that it's about life going forward, not always life going backward. So, your tale teller knew what she was about.
Fair enough. Our crew is very adept at being able to say the right things, and Merame chief among them. But you must still be commended for your ability to hold an audience like that.
And he says, well, thank you. I wish that some others understood it the same way. Most people think I'm too busy trying to cause problems.
Fair enough. To be perfectly sure, it does seem like you are gifted at riling people up, but I imagine that's for a specific cause.
If it's a cause of getting these people to stop spending their time spinning tales and more time doing something they should be. Tale spinning matters, but not if all it does is make us remember the past. It's time to think about the future, not all of this clan nonsense.
Fair enough. You wouldn't happen to know anything more about the gentleman that we were speaking to earlier, would you?
The gentleman, you mean? Oh, and he looks over. You mean Rolforor, then?
Yeah.
He says, well, there wouldn't be a whole lot to be able to say, because it's been a long time. The last time that I saw him here, I was but a dwarven lad. He doesn't come here all the time. Oh, it's been quite some time since he's been here, in fact.
Pardon my mortality, but quite some time for your kin. is a vast feat of the future for some of us. When would you say is the last time that you've actually seen Rolf Aurora around these parts?
And he rubs his chin and he says, well, it was the first time I'd been allowed in this place with my family. 50 years, I'd say.
Rowan tries to hide the fact that 50 years is a hell of a long time.
50 years, yes. Mm-hmm, yeah.
Snap a finger.
That's it. Does it strike you as a trustworthy fellow? Somebody that can be relied on when venturing down below?
In his day, although I don't entirely know why he did bother to venture down below. The truth is that, well, we've never really known whether to take the stories that he had totally seriously. It's a good tale, you know, going down to speak to Spinweave. But, Spinweave might be just as much a legend as anything. I don't know. It's the kind of thing you might say if you wanted to get people to notice their attention. I assume that's why he hadn't said anything since. I remember, when I was a child, him telling that story. It impressed me. And then I didn't see him again till this evening, and he told the same exact story. Always locked in the past, this one, apparently, like the rest of them.
In the past, indeed.
Yeah. You probably don't need
in the mind link, I go, it's probably best that we leave him alone. He probably won't benefit from joining us on this any more than he would us simply telling him that the story has ended if we finish this job.
Yeah, I think just us going might be for the best.
And I also believe if we can find the banner, either he will meet us or we will have to come back here to show it to him, and then he will realize he's dead.
I think do I get the sense at all that he knows he's dead? Like that he's got an understanding that he's not really part of this world anymore?
I will give you an insight check at disadvantage. See what
Which
you can
makes
find out.
it normal because I get advantage on insight checks.
There you go. Double
Okay.
disadvantage. No, that's fine.
Dude, okay, hang on. I'm just getting back in because I got kicked out again, but I am back in.
That's a browser
20.
thing. I don't know.
We could be friends. It's the same thing I usually use.
Yeah.
Maybe 2025 it was like, oh gee, what is wrong with my sheet? Oh my dear Lord.
Maybe Roll20 is trying to tell us in 2025 we should roll physical dice.
Oh yes, I
There
like
you
that.
go.
Okay, insight normal. All right, I am inciting. Oh, I am not inciting a lot.
So 13, very hard to tell. Merame, he's so grim as it is and sort of dour that it's hard to tell if he's just like, well, my people, or whether he's like, well, I'm dead. You know, like he's just very, very dour. But he certainly didn't notice you passing, you know, your hand through his body. He wasn't looking at you when it happened, though. So
I'm not into torturing already tortured souls, so I'm going to, you know, I'm going to wait till Rowan is happy with it. I'll just sit quietly with him, and then when Rowan is happy with his investigation of the young'un and we decide to go by ourselves, then I'll wish him good night and reiterate that we're gonna try to finish his story and find his banner.
And he's go ahead, Ron. Yeah.
So at this other table, I give the drink that was for me, which I imagine smells like it can knock me out before I even drink it.
You're a little buzzed just from the scent. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I offer it to him and go, I'm afraid with my constitution, this is so strong it might turn my insides pure white. So you can have that on the house.
Oh, well, thank you. And he, you know, and he takes it from you.
Downs it in one gulp, I presume.
He takes it from you and he says, thank you so much. And again, good tail spinning, glug, 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 about half, from all of you, and then wipes a little bit of foam off his mouth.
Yes, and same to you. I hope that at some point we do share another spinning of tales in the future, and if I might leave you with anything, I will tell you that you are right that we should always be heading in the future, but there is always something worth knowing about the past in order to get there. And I pat him on the shoulder and I leave.
By the way, when you pat him on the shoulder, it's definitely a shoulder. Your hand is not passed through it.
Real physical shoulder.
Yes, real physical shoulder.
Nice.
Okay.
No, if this entire tavern was full of ghosts,
the whole thing could go.
Please.
Then it's like, wait a minute, what if you're the ghost? What? Oh, God. Okay. Okay. So when you go back over, Mary... Oh, go ahead, Ron. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and then I come back to the table and I tell Rolf Roar, we were already more than willing to be of assistance to you, but now more than even before. If you need hands, you have ours.
And he nods. He says, "Thank you. Thank you to both of you. I'm grateful. When you're down there, if you can find the banner and bring it to me, I'd be appreciative. And, well, please make sure you can come back yourself. Most don't."
I foresee a lot of auras of life.
I promise you, no matter how difficult it may be, we've made it through the things that we have before by grit and by trusting each other. For your sake, we will.
And thanks to your map and your words as well, they will prove invaluable, no doubt, in the journey to come.
And he nods and his acknowledgement, but says nothing more. Okay, so assuming then that the party is going to use the map, I guess this is what it sounds like, using the map to make their way towards this thing, if I'm correct. So the map leads you deep beneath the mountains, and you realize that it would have been real hard to find this without this map, because the maze of passageways and sort of turnings and, comings and goings would have been very difficult. And in fact, as you go, you pass various guard points and sentry points to a number of places and past guards. And finally, you reach an area that I have an image for. All right, so hang on a second here while I get the this one. Okay, and I'm also going to shut off the tavern music, which is really useful, but not exactly the vibe here.
Oh, man.
The pleasant tavern music as you go down.
Yay!
No, we're looking more for something.
Didn't leave tavern. I think we took a wrong turn somewhere.
I think we're looking more like this. Let's go with that. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. And the thing that you see... Again, sorry, too big. There we go. This is the entrance that you see, and when you come to it, there's one last sentry post, and the two dwarven guards that you can see are there, sort of heavily armored. I feel like I keep saying grim, more grim, double grim, dour, and grim. But these ones just sort of look at you, and at first you think they might try to stop you, but instead they just shake their heads, and both of them sort of wish you luck as you pass through. There are flickering, ever-burning torches that light the way through the empty halls beyond. And following the map, you eventually find a single word in Dwarvish that is etched into the stone above a set of stairs leading down. You don't know, and you happen to know what this is because you've seen it elsewhere within the town. It is a sign which reads, "Warning." And at the bottom of the stairs, and you can feel the sort of darkness, the dankness, the dankness, the dampness as well growing, and the cold as you go down below. And as you get all the way to the bottom, you hear from somewhere ahead of you, you hear this.
Yeah, the volume up.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I have this in here. If I don't, I may have to give you... Oh, I found it. Yes, sorry. I have it here. Not separately, but here. Here we go. Can you hear it now? On roll 20.
A lute playing?
Yes.
Oh, well then, yes, we do hear it.
Okay.
What?
Aha, yes.
Oh, can't trust lute players.
What fate lay in darkness, we did not know. The first of us fell to the gibbering mass. In Solud our lost, he would not be the last. We pressed on to a span over grey swirling mist. Two were pulled down by the lurker within. We followed the web trail for Spinweave we sought. After her counsel, her shadow we fought. Hunted us in the tombs and my comrade was lost. It seems they had plans for me, for here I stay. Deep down in Soludar till the end of my days.
Fun, grand.
Well,
I didn't know that was the words of the other verse to the Gilligan Silent theme.
That didn't sound like what's his face, did it?
No.
Okay.
And you notice there's a pause, and then it repeats.
Starts again.
Yes.
Oh, another.
Wow, they've invented tape recorders here. That's amazing.
Another chopped soul.
Yeah, that's not fun. I was actually curious how, in the midst of an entire clan visiting this place, only one person still has unfinished business here. And now we're learning, I guess they all had different kinds of unfinished business. This is grand. This is lovely. This is actually a brilliant idea. I don't regret this, but it does suck more now.
I'm also showing you something, which is the lyrics to the song that he keeps repeating. The voice keeps repeating.
It does sound like if we do speak with Spinweave, we will be attacked afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's a part of the bargain, which makes Spinweave not very trustworthy, to be sure.
I mean, not to be a dick, and I'm not trying to victim blame here, but it depends on if they refused her deal or tried to put one over on her or whatever. But yes, the odds of combat with this thing are very high, absolutely.
Judging only from the way that this story has been told to us before, we can only presume people only go to Spinweave to ask a question and get an answer. There are not a lot of ways to piss somebody off after that.
Oh, sure there are.
Remember,
remember Soul Ring said that they want things from you. You have to strike a bargain with them, etc., etc. There's lots of ways to piss people off in the making of a deal.
The other thing...
Even I know that.
Fair enough.
Whole thing about if you're willing to make the sacrifice, it gives Spinweave less power. There's a possibility that Spinweave is under some sort of geas after giving advice that this shadow creature must attack, and it is based on the power of the sacrifice or the willingness or not of the sacrifice. Supposition, but supposition.
I mean, information does in fact always have a cost. Perhaps you are right that that cost is inversely proportional to the threat that we'd face afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that begs the question, what are we willing to sacrifice when we get in here?
The better question is, what information are we actually going to ask for first? We better get that nailed down first.
Can we leave the Oracle of War here? That'd be a great place to leave it.
Probably not. I'm pretty sure the Oracle of Blades has... I'm pretty sure the Lord of Blades has lots of things that he's willing to literally throw away in the service of his goals. Maybe we don't want to just put it somewhere where him and a large sea of all of his kin could just roll over this spider and leave.
Right.
Well, she is part or so we'd interpreted, that she's part of the prophecy, right? When the voice under the mountain speaks, those who listen shall loosen the grip of the emerald claw on the gates to doom. So we need to do this to loosen their grip.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the emerald claw wins.
This
But
spells for us specifically a very dire course of action where Spinweave is gonna ask us for that high price, and if we don't pay it, we lose this war.
No
And
pressure.
die in this cave. That too. But we also lose this war.
what do we know about? I mean, we heard about the shadow who came and destroyed the dwarves. What defenses do we have? How can we stop ourselves from becoming ghosts ourselves, which will be much less useful at stopping the war if we are.
Counterpoint. We could get what we need to get and leave. We can flee. That's what teleport is for.
I'm more than happy with that, but I'm afraid she'll stop your spell somehow.
Fair.
Natural enemy of shadow is light, which we have in abundance, both within, and Alarian activates their Star Sword, and without.
I point at Nisiana and go, I mean, apparently Eberron is on our side.
Is it not? Is it only apparent? How can you say apparent?
I turn to you and I say, because I trust you. Everything else is secondary.
And all my power comes from Eberron. And you are alive because Eberron wills it through me. So,
I'm alive because you willed it and Eberron agreed.
and thus Eberron is not apparent. Eberron is there and on our side.
Fair enough.
And we have...
That's all I need.
I was like, wait, I just want an argument or a debate with Ro. Wait a second.
And and we have, before we even get Spinweave, we first have to worry about the gibbering mass.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be a monster, a lurker within Grey Swirling Mist.
Well, we're definitely familiar with Grey Swirling Mist, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, and then we use the light against her shadow after she gives us counsel. And then we collect the banner from the tombs below.
I mean, he said the banner is in her lair.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, once we get the information, which I assume is stopping the Emerald Claw from opening up the barrier, the banner may be a separate item that may require more violent means to remove.
When Ilarian says that, a thought immediately comes to Rowan, and I would like to do... I guess that's an investigation check?
What are you trying to do?
I was going to say, yeah.
I would like to know if we're being followed or if anybody else has been here recently.
First would be perception. The
Yeah, it's
second
good.
would be investigation.
There you go. Yes.
Right, I'm gonna do both.
Okay.
Investigation. Please don't suck. That sucked.
Certainly,
And you said
you're the only
please.
ones. Yeah, certainly you're the only ones here. No, who would follow you? Truly.
Grand perception. Please don't suck. 4.
Stop saying
You're
that!
like, you're like, you don't know when the last time was. You know, it's an ancient place. It did tell you warning. I mean, you know that for sure.
Oh God, grand.
And it should, well,
Well, cool, fun. Well, it seems like we're the only people here, and the only answers to the questions of what's gonna kill us on the inside are available on the inside.
Well then, we ready?
Nope, but we can pretend. I start pushing the door.
When you push the door, the door actually was open, but the stairs leading down, and you heard this sound as you were coming downwards. And in fact, I have a map I will show all of you. Although it is a map it's only the first part of it. By the way, you have used his map to get here. So this presumably is the very inner area, I guess you might say, of it's not the center of the lair, but it's definitely like you would not have gotten there without the map. And as you arrive here, you folks can feel free to bring
it's way down at the bottom. Okay, I was like, where's the
thing?
All the way at the bottom. There we go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
There we are.
Okay. So, and I'll resize appropriately momentarily.
Oh, I stuck myself in the darkness. Damn it.
Oh no!
When you mouse over yourself, you should be able
There
to
we
see
go.
your.
Although that's very appropriate, right? It's like, and Nisiana is lost forever.
It's so dark, we've lost ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
When the darkness happens and Nisiana gets scared, spirit guardians,
That's true. That's true.
let there be light.
Okay.
There we go.
Let me just reduce people to their proper sizes.
You actually don't have to do that. You could just cast any cantrip, and your dragon mark will light up the entire freaking room.
But this is
Okay, hang on a second.
then that means in the tavern. I'm all glowy.
There we go. Okay, and then spanner. No, great. Okay, so everyone is there now. Okay. As you, so this hall opens onto a square room that is draped in strange webbing. And there's another hall exiting to the west, which you can see over here, and heavy double doors that are set in the northeast corner. But the song that you heard originates from a dwarf. You can tell that because of the stature, is dressed in a similar way to what you noticed from Rolflor up top. But his back is turned to you, and he is singing the thing that you hear.
Where is he?
I will place him now. Oh, wait, sorry. There.
Don't see him.
Nope. Hold on. I don't have it out yet. Yep. Come on. Search purchases faster, please. There we go. Okay, and then this.
Kind of catchy.
Okay.
I mean.
Okay.
The largest dwarf ever.
Okay, and then is let's see.
A
Can I
giant
zoom out?
dwarf.
Zoom out
It's like
enough.
Peter Dinklage in the Marvel movies.
All right, is turned facing away, sort
Yeah.
of over on that side.
5 foot squares or 10 foot squares?
These are, I believe,
5 foot.
5 foot squares. Yes, 5 feet.
Cast detect good and evil on him. Is he undead? I'm assuming he is actually, but just to confirm.
Well, are two different questions. You're asking about detect good or evil?
Mm-hmm. Which detects celestials, phase, undead, aberrant, all that shit. Which is weird. It doesn't tell whether it's good or evil, just what type of creature they are.
Undead and evil. And as you sort of cast that, he turns around, and for the first time you can see what he looks like. He stops singing, and you see that he is a cadaverous dwarf, gray, rubbery-looking skin, glassy eyes. And as he turns to face you, you see there is a thick coil of webbing running up from the floor and underneath his shirt.
Oh.
And he looks at you and he says,
Dwarven puppet.
Welcome. Why have you come?
and that's where we're going to end our session for this evening.
Good timing, 10-2, just like you wanted.
In the lair of Spinweave. Well, I am very curious to see. I loved, by the way, favorite reaction so far of 2025 is the you put your hand right through him and you're like, what? And Brandon's like, Jesus Christ. It was great. I love that reaction. The awareness of a guy who doesn't perhaps seems not to know that he's a ghost, and your discussions of it were really great. And just sort of like, what do we do about that? Do we tell him? No, I don't want to torture him. Like that stuff. It was great. It was really, really fun. It was really fun to watch that play out. So I wonder what will happen next time. Chat, who knows? Only these folks know. But they are now in the midst of Spinweave's lair, trying to get information. It's my favorite kind of adventure, which is where you're trying to get to someone, but you don't really want to go there, but you have to go there. So you're just like, we're trying like hell to get to a place that we don't really want to go. It's great. It's super great. Okay. I will start over on the right-hand side all the way, which is the opposite of where Rowan was sitting, opposite of our boy Roll for Roar before. Good stuff today, Brandon, on two fronts with Rowan. One of them was the whole business of like when it's like, oh, I heard that, Fjarlin like ahead, and everyone's like, well, how would Fjarlin know? You're just sort of like cough, so there was that. But I also, loved the very sort of human reaction that Rowan is having about like, this is all great. I can't believe that this is all happening. Even going over to talk to the other clan member. And a part of it I know was to try to find out, should we bring this clan member with us? Part of it is also, are these people all ghosts? So that was really funny. And now you're going into the midst of this area where what is this weird, creepy, powerful, shadow, sagey, spidery thing to do? Very fun reactions to watch play out from Rowan. How did you feel about tonight? Where will the lovely folks find you next, Brandon?
So this was fun. Always love Rowan being in a situation where he can't just con his way out of a problem. So being in that tavern was quite a sight because he was prepared to just game this interaction. That Roll for Roar was just going to be like, I need something in these caves. Can I trust you all to do the thing? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, we'll do it for X amount of coin.
Right.
Trust us to not sabotage you whatsoever. And then he tells us this very sorrowful story and then reveals that he is no longer alive. And I'm like, grand. This is not a con anymore. That's delightful.
So wait, you had no urge to be like, I can con a ghost? Like, how smart can he be? He's dead. I mean, geez.
No, because the other thing is obviously, and I feel like this is a thing that I've said before on a previous episode, which is that old line that people give all the time, you can't con an honest John, is not like a rule that is given to you. It is a guideline for how to not screw up. You cannot deceive someone who does not like need anything by subterfuge. Everything that Roll for R has told us is earnest. He has lost his loved ones. He just needs his banner. You can't rob someone of that. And the moment that Rowan sees that, he's like, cool. Not only are we risking our lives against giant spider thingy, but we're doing it for someone who is too dead to actually reward us. But we have to do it because it's the right thing to do. And at that point, I was literally going over to the other guy to go, can you please confirm for us that you can see that this has happened?
Yeah.
Because if it's only the two of us, we will never be able to explain this to you in the future. So that was delightful. Also, that was my genuine reaction in that moment. I was prepared.
No, I could tell. That was not fake. I know.
We were going to be in combat. I was prepared for you to tell us that Mermaid just lost a hand.
Yeah, me too.
He sucks her in.
I was not prepared for he is already dead. So cool. Thank you for surprising us with that, which we should not have been surprised by actually in hindsight. So yes, that was fun. Also, to me, I want to say my the reaction that I was fondest of this evening was getting to tell Nisiana that I don't trust Eberron, I trust Nisiana.
Oh, that was great too. Yes. Yes.
So yes, that's gonna come up again, surely. So yeah, and also Fionn, who tells Fionn things? Fionn has no reason to know things. Cough, cough. Why would anybody, who on earth would possibly go all the way to Fionn and give up top secret information about the King's Citadel who nobody is supposed to know about? Cough, cough, cough. Could never be me. So yes. Hi everybody, I'm Brandon O'Brien. You can find me almost everywhere on the internet at The Rising Tides, which also includes my Twitch channel, which sometime next week, in fact, I have a date and time, on the 8th, at 7 p.m. my time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, ? On the 8th of January, I will be having my Koaku Utagasen recap stream with our good friend Iori Kusano. So please hear me have dozens of J-pop idol thoughts. It will actually be a lot of fun. And then on the 10th, on our good friend Sean Duke's stream, and that's twitch.tv/alphabet streams, I'm doing a Capricorn donation streams, because Capricorn is happening in the middle of February, and it would be really cool if I can raise the funds to actually travel to the thing. So Sean and I are going to be playing some games very badly and talking about geeky stuff, and I will be reading lots of poetry. So if none of you, by some miracle or tragedy of the past 3 years, have never heard any of the poems from Can You Sign My Tentacle, you should come and check that out on the 10th, because I will be reading from the thing. I think that would be really cool. And I've already told Sean that if we raise at least $600 on stream, I owe him a one shot of an RPG. So that has to happen. That please compel me to make that happen. I think he deserves it. So yeah, and the next time that you will see me here is in 2 weeks for more Eberron. I want so badly to figure out what is the next thing I will be GMing on this channel, but it is too soon to say what that will be yet.
Well, there's one.
I would like that to happen very soon.
I was going to say, well, there's one thing that that you're likely to be GMing in the not too distant future, right? I mean, related to a certain project that you're working on.
Yes, that's going to be happening very soon as well. So please continue to bully me into playing things. I like to do the thing very often. And hopefully the next time that you will see me in person is at St. John's University for the very cool thing that we will be doing alongside Marie Bilido and our good friend Brian Tawara. Because it's going to be really rad. We still have not confirmed yet whether non-students can attend.
No, I did find that out. Yes, it's open to the public.
Oh. Yay!
Yes, it is. And which means that Carlos Hernandez is going for sure, because he already told me that. So, yes,
nice.
Open to the public. So please spread the word.
Please
tell
do
everyone.
The thing.
Yes,
please do the thing. I would like to meet more of you in person.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be really rad to be in an educational institution and talk about all of the weird feelings I have about speculative poetry to kids, to like people who are still 18 to 20. Would be hilarious to me. I am an old man. I just want people to discover speculative poetry all the time. So
Trent and I are like, oh yeah, old man.
Oh God. But yes, if you can be there, please join us. I think it would be really cool, because I think giving us the opportunity to talk about speculative writing in an academic setting only continues to legitimize that which everyone else keeps trying to delegitimize and fails to do so. So please join us if you can.
Yep. No, for real. And it's exactly one of the reasons that I was really happy that I wanted to push it, and why I was really proud of my university, honestly, and my college, to be like, yep, this is important, and to agree. So good for them. I give them credit for that, and I'm really excited that he'll be able to come to a university that is itself got a bit of a historic angle, founded in 1870. So it's been around for a while, and it was the largest one that was supposed to serve the metropolitan area. That was its mission. So I am excited that it will feature these three storytellers. So thanks, Brandon. And I'm, personally biasedly excited about Greyshade, which is coming soon. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. Thank you, Brandon. Good work tonight. Jen, great work as well as always from Nisiana. I loved also your reaction to the whole ghost reveal, where you were like, and then you were like, is this a ghost? And it was like, you're like, yep, but it was it was true. Like it was an authentic, like, oh man. So, and also the question of sacrifice, which is something which was very much, I think, on Nisiana's mind, maybe because of, things that Nisiana has seen, the way that her companions have both stayed the same in their core principles in some ways, but also changed, hence the conversations you had last session, etc. So that was interesting. And there may be some auras of life up here, but you're walking into an area that I imagine Nisiana knows is like not pro health, you know what I mean? Like not filled with sunshine and light. And so it'll be interesting to see how Nisiana manages that. How did you feel about tonight's session? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
I thought it was fun. It was fun to watch. I don't think I'm going to be anywhere but here in 2 weeks. I don't think I'm looking at my thing. My calendar. I have a interrupt schedule over here, which is do I go someplace, or hey, Thursday, my kitten who was injured, Freya, is off cage.
Oh, yay, good.
Thursday. She is climbing, well, she's trying to climb the walls. We are not allowing her to do so, much to her chagrin. Try and keep a 5-month-old kitten confined.
I can only imagine, yeah.
And her brother running around. So my mind is definitely taken up with a lot of that stuff, and the Shadowrun magazine and other projects that I'm working on with various other people in here. So yeah, award season is upon us. I have posted a couple of images. I will be posting a blog post about it soon. If you read something, or if you saw something, if you enjoyed something from someone, please nominate people for various awards, because that is important to some of us. It does help our careers.
Yes, amen to that. Can confirm.
And I want to briefly interject to continue to echo that sentiment, and also remind people that you are in a banner year for nominating poetry for awards as well, because the Hugos will now have a special award for poetry.
Yep.
And I believe the Nebulas is doing the thing as well.
Yep.
So please, if you've been reading poetry, do the thing for your favorite poem, because they deserve it.
Yep, totally agree on that score with the Nebula and the Hugos. And, if you're looking to nominate a series, I may have a series that may just have
right. Also, there's Nebula has a role-playing game writing award for Hugos. I'm eligible for short form editor, as is John Helfers, with the 2 anthologies he and I edited, and I edited a 3rd one. So these are things that, if something brought you joy, please nominate it.
Or terror, or hope,
yes.
or whatever
if
it meant
affected you. If our art affected you in any way that makes you still think about it, please nominate it, if it's eligible.
Good stuff, Jen. Yes, I agree with that entirely. Thank you. Good work today, and we will see you in 2 weeks as well. Moving right along to John. Interesting stuff today as well from Alarian. I am going to be very curious to see how Alarian also deals with something which is so, in some ways, opposite what Alarian is, an underground demon creature. We also got some lore about the whole war below and all that kind of stuff, and what that's going to be like to a creature like Alarian, who certainly you would know of them, but would have had no encounters or anything like that, because this war took place many hundreds of miles below where you were at every point. So that's going to be interesting to me to see as well in this place of darkness. I'm interested to see how Alarian reacts to all that, and I was interested seeing how you were thinking about that here, and just was loving the image of everyone being like, there's a bunch of dwarves and then all of you, but then Alarian just floating next to you. I was just like, not the norm that we would see. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
It was fun. I mean, Alarian was observing a fair amount this time, although they were just as shocked as everyone else at the ghost. They just didn't reveal it because, of course, the face doesn't move. But that was pretty funny. It's very clear this is a destination point for our party. There are several things pointing us this way, despite the, I think, reticence of a lot of us, like, must we? And yes, apparently we must. But Nisiana brought up a very good point, is that what are we asking this thing? And that's something we really do need to get kind of straightened out before we actually encounter it. Which it looks like it's going to be a ways because there's the gibbering thing, there's the mass, there's the lurker, there's this, that, and the other. So it's like, okay, well, we'll get some hors d'oeuvres out of the way before the main course, I guess. It's going to be interesting because this is much like I think Nisiana feels. This is diametrically opposed to what Alarian's all about. So that final boss fight or boss encounter, not a fight yet, but boss encounter, yeah, that's going to be something. So I'm looking forward to coming back here in 2 weeks and see what goes on, see what happens. It'll be fun.
It'll be good stuff, and you will also see more coming very soon. Soon with the Star Wars game that's starting up as well.
The Wars Among Stars, absolutely.
So there's that. And then you'll see more from various things from John editorially and otherwise coming in the new year with Catalyst, etc. So thank you, John. Good stuff today, as always. Moving right along, Marie, interesting stuff, I think, too, from Merimee in the level of the dreams. We had some moments there with the anti-scrying field, which caused some issues. In general, the Kalashtar stuff that's been interfering a bit with the dreams, the sort of focus on the draconic prophecy nature of things. So there's that. But there's also, the fact that now you're in a place where there is sort of sacrifice, and there's maybe something like mind control or necromantic something or stuff that does not seem to me to fit well with what the Kalashtar would hope from things around them. And so I am very curious to see how Merimee is going to deal with a place like this, other than with flourishes and the sword, of course. That's a whole other matter. But how did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I had a great time, as always. Always fun to see everyone else RP. I like teaming up with Rowan and going to chat that. I wasn't sure how it was going to go either. I was like, well, Rowan's going to get something extra out of him, or, I wasn't sure at all how it was going to go down, and then he was a ghost. So I did love that moment as well of when you said, like, as soon as you touched him, like, oh no, are you going to make me do a wisdom saving throw? I'm really bad at and now I'm stabbing everyone I love again.
Yeah. And you were the one who obviously did the whole ghost discovery thing, where it was just like, there's that too.
Oh, and then it's like, is everyone else a ghost? Like, we didn't touch anyone else. We need to become more huggy. We need to hug people, guys. This is important. So yeah, no, I had a great time. I'm really looking forward to seeing how well next time will go. With absolutely no trauma. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be great. And where you can find me next is going to be here on the 18th, and then at the event already mentioned, which I'm very excited for, at the end of February.
It's going to be good stuff on both levels. Thanks, Marie. Always a pleasure. Last but certainly not least, Tren, Tantin, of course, is at the end of this rainbow is the unfortunate non-pot of gold known as having to go back to Metrol, presumably. But in the meantime, I thought it was interesting to me to see your discussions with Solring, where there was very much kind of like at some point the two of you were sort of talking shop because both of you know what's at stake, and both of you are artificers who know the drill about how this stuff works, and you both have your own regrets, I think, about some of what has been done in the past, and so forth. In some cases, on his level, the disastrous thing that became the Oracle of War, but as well about, unintended consequences, I think, of things, even if you didn't do them, seeing them done with others. So that was interesting to me. And then the idea of the three remotes, like helping with the whole amplifying the triangulation model thing and all that was really interesting too. And now you have this to deal with where, I don't know if Tantin has opinions about this one way or the other, going down to this place. I'm curious about how that's going to play out for Tantin, and what he thinks about being in a place with someone with terrible amounts of knowledge and a terrible old ancient creature that always asks a price for the knowledge that she provides. I'm very curious to see what Tantin feels about that. So how did you feel about the session tonight? Where will the folks find you next?
I think for me, probably the most impactful moment was when Marie was like, so I reach over to put it, and you were like, wait, let me stop you there. And I'm like, is he taking agency away from it? And then you finish your sentence. I'm like, oh, shit.
No, he's just describing not. Whatever the hell that was.
Exactly. I was like, oh no. Yeah. just the abruptness with which you stopped her. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is this all about? And it was like, oh, oh. And then so I'm immediately like, wait, does everyone else think that too? And it's like, is this a haunting that happens here every night, that this dude bangs the door open?
This just a Tuesday? What's going on?
What the hell, you know? And now looking back, and you're like, no, the door just kind of swings shut on its own. I'm like, did it? Did it really? I have to wonder what would happen if I just shot him. Because I can shoot ghosts with that crossbow. Anyway, whatever. There was a moment where when things were getting, kind of crazy, and I almost looked over at Easy, and I was like, just do a quick turn. Just see what happens. If anybody else runs away from you,
Mini
don't
turn.
destroy them. Just downcast it, and don't channel divinity, just kind of divinity. That's all we need right now. It's just a little whatever that's called.
Divinity spurt.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yes. Anyway, so where will people see me next? Here, though I may have less beard by then, probably. I was debating shaving this off before the show, and then had to go out and get lunch or dinner or whatever meal that was, and then get asked what I think about something right as I put a big bite of salad in my mouth.
My bad.
So I'll be back here 2 weeks from now. Where will people see me elsewise? I don't know.
Just get Trent's audio work, and among those things, maybe be on the lookout for maybe some new things coming that have been waited for a while, audio-wise, although we're not at liberty to say more of what, possibly.
Massive tone.
Yes, it's going to be great.
Really?
But
Really, yeah.
wonderful work. Thank you, Trent, and wonderful work from the entire Infinity and Beyond crew. Chat, can we get some love for the Infinity Beyond crew of Trent Sparks, Marie Bilodeau, John Helfers, Jennifer Brozek, Brandon O'Brien? Crew, I will see you folks perhaps individually in different places, but I will see you all specifically for this group in 2 weeks as we see what happens in Spinweave's lair. Thank you, crew, so much. Good work, everyone. Bye for now. All right. So, good stuff, everybody. And it makes up for the fact that I saw that the Pittsburgh Steelers lost while this was all going on. God damn it. It was close. It was really close, but they've lost 4 in a row going into the playoffs, and that's not what you want. But they're in the playoffs. Who knows? Hope springs eternal. In the meantime, we have, the amazingness of D&D to be able to occupy it. I was paying attention to them, not to the game, so I popped on the score literally as they were finishing up. I'm like, God damn it. So, but it's okay. It's all right. It's fine. It's all good. It was a great pleasure to play with this crew as always. And if all goes well, what the plan is for later this year for this campaign to wrap up. And I'm going to have an announcement about what that looks like not too long from now. I don't have absolute confirmation yet, so I have to wait a few weeks to maybe a little over a month. But there is going to be something exciting about happening with this crew coming soon in terms of what the finale of this campaign would look like. So you will not want to miss that when it happens, assuming, of course, that they don't get destroyed before then. Let's hope that they can make it through Spinweave's lair, but we will find that out together in a couple of weeks. If you liked what you saw and heard today, I hope you will follow the channel. I hope you will check out our YouTube at !ArvTube, and thanks to those of you who are watching over on YouTube today. I hope you will join us on Discord, !ArvCord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter is !ArvTweets, where I hope you will join me there, and especially I hope you will join me on Blue Sky, !ArvSky, where I am building up my follower base as rapidly as may be. And of course, the website for this, arvanelleron.com. Don't forget to check out Hearthglow, which is our limited run podcast. I'm going to be doing a new recording of that next week. And then Triffid is going to get to work on a bunch of a few short episode edits coming from that. And then February next month, and then March is going to be the conclusion of that Hearthglow thing. And I'll have an announcement about that too when I have all those details set. And of course, Gen GMs, which is the show that I do with Zach Clay on DM and GM tips, recorded a long form of that, and Live Suing is going to have that all to you very soon. So please make sure that you check things out for that. On the the financial front, !ARV shop. That's my merchandise area. You can get stuff related to the Infinity and Beyond crew, and also stuff for Middle-earth role-playing and Adventures of Middle-earth, and just the basic channel stuff and some other stuff soon as well. Well, thank you, Sean Black. That is going to be coming up there too, so you'll be able to check that out. Let's see. And then the Patreon, !ARV right there, which is the financial backbone of the channel. You can get some really cool stuff for you and cool stuff for the channel, stuff that you can't get just by subbing. So please consider supporting us there. Would love to get that into triple digits again soon in the near future. So please consider jumping over there and supporting us, or deepening your support if you're already there, or spreading the word. If you can do those things, that would be lovely. Also, speaking of subbing to the channel is really useful. Those custom sub badges and emotes you can use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. Tari and I are going to get together to do more of those emotes coming soon, by the way, and so we will have more emotes going up soon, and that'll be good because you'll get even more bang for your buck right now. Hey, good to see you, Paul, over on the YouTube channel. Let's see. On the publishing front, Icarus is my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library is my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And Greyshade, that is my Greyshade IP. Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic is the Grey Assassin trilogy. And again, you can get that right now. You can pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade at that link coming from Brandon O'Brien, as you just heard, and from Alligator Alley Entertainment, which will be out about mid-year this year. And you can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks, who you've just heard more from today. So you can get that as well at that link. Please do that. That is super useful. And as always, BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help, and reach out to others when they need help as well. And Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back, excuse me, against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we will do so for others in that situation in the future. I want to thank all the wonderful people who made this a great stream tonight. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Dragon Spear, Prince Justin, Shadow Mage, Triffity Mats, The Rising Tides, the best mods in the business. Thank you as well to my Patreon supporters and subscribers. Thank you to Dragon, Prince Justin, Shadow Mage, Triffity Mats, Crit Switch, Sean Black, Trendane. Thank you so much to all of you. And thank you to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Bob Bear, Black Fury, Gaia Shield, Jagtris, Kooky Canuck, Marie Bilodeau, Nonstop, who's a sub but lurking, Radio Johnny Panda, Saturnius, and Zalvi. Thank you so much for that. And special thanks tonight to my wonderful Infinity and Beyond crew of Eberron. Thank you so much again to Trent Sparks, Marie Bilodeau, Brandon O'Brien, Jennifer Brozek, and John Helfers for being awesome. Reminder that on Tuesday I will be back with Beowulf Age of Heroes as we continue our duet system with Tari Tunes. Then I'll be over on GOG.com, either finishing or coming close to finishing the Songs of Conquest game that I've been playing over there, which will be great. And then next Thursday, we will be finishing up Beyond Shadowgate. So you'll definitely want to be here for all of those things. Next Saturday, of course, a week from today, is Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. And this campaign that you just saw will be back to you 2 weeks from now. That's going to do it for me. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you lovely folks back here very, very soon. But until then, everyone, please be good to each other. And as I always say, bye for now. Have a good night.
Most folks in Eberron live their lives hoping to survive and protect the ones they care about the most. A few do that and more, trying to help those around them, even the ones they don't know. But only one group does all that when no one else can. The King's Citadel. The ones who do the job no one else can do. Valerian, the Shield. A star-forged Aegis whose strength lies in their shield, their armor, and their will to keep the Citadel and its mission safe, no matter what the cost. Merime, the Sword. A Kalashtar bard whose dreams predict doom and disaster, so that her skill in battle, insight into the hearts and minds of those she encounters, and love for her sister and the Citadel is more necessary than ever. Tantin, the Brain. A dragon-marked human artificer whose jovial demeanor conceals a deep curiosity, razor-sharp intellect, and long memory. He knows what he did for the last war, and he knows what it did to him, and how much worse the next war could be. Nisiana, the Heart. A dragon-marked halfling healer whose love for her sister is matched only by her desire to help and heal the members of the Citadel. She's grown wiser and more wary, yet even in the midst of doubt, hope remains. Rowan, the Wild Card. A human wild magic sorcerer who's played a dangerous game for most of his life. He's gone all in to save his friends, but they aren't the only ones sitting at the table. As the shadows gather, will he have the chips to pay if his bet is called? These 5 elite operatives came together to aid the salvage outpost of Salvation, where the Grey hovers nearby, a threat and a promise. With the Oracle of War, they found an artifact powerful enough to end a war, or begin one. They traveled to Sharn, City of Towers, to unravel the Oracle's mysteries while stopping assassination attempts from the terrorist organization known as the Emerald Claw. They found Sky Blue, the daring thief tied to the ancient draconic prophecy, and stopped the Claw operative Arulin Karnak before traveling back to Salvation and into the Grey to repel a warforged invasion and take the fight to the Lord of Blade's secret fortress Razorcrag. Capturing one of the Claw's most powerful lieutenants and sent to negotiate peace with the nation of Thrain, they survived another assassination attempt and saved the Thrain's leader from the continent-wide vengeance of the Undying Court, only to discover they'd been betrayed by an ally who was not as she seemed. Now the King's Citadel must stop the Emerald Claw once and for all, using their new knowledge and new allies to finish the Claw and gain the information they need about the Oracle of War before it's too late. But can they learn the Oracle's secrets, stop the Emerald Claw, and discover the deepest plans of the Lord of Blades? Only if they remember that in the end all they have is each other and the King's Citadel. Long live the King. Welcome to Eberron. Welcome to Corvair. Welcome to the world within and without Salvation.